kids. One's still in college, so probably doesn't.
Yeah, كل كرسي واحد.
Oh, okay, so I'm gonna say you got at least 10 Oh yeah, not for me.
Just charge it. We'll go from there. When you're done, give it to us. Yeah, just share right now for
So is there a particular way you see it? I don't know why they it's somewhere.
I think after yeah, and they used to drop
keep it up. See the time? We start 4 o'clock and see they can come 4:50. 3:30.
النار قال نودي بالنار
يمكن كان في التيبل بفور but it's good over
البيت
yeah it's good over there.
I'm trying to keep a non-smoking section.
yeah, I get short of breath.
No, it's like a journalism.
Assalamu alaikum.
They came from Top Gun.
Hello, hello. Can you please, we try to keep a non-smoking section today. If there is anyone who wants to smoke, you could stop outside and please smoke and come back. Non-smoking today. Non-smoking section. You'd be surprised.
Sheesh is okay. Sheesh is okay.
The sheesh is helping.
We're live already on Facebook.
That's fine.
We're starting at we're live
Oh yeah.
لا انا هو بالحال هذا كل واحد يقرا اسمه. Hello, Lynn. You'll be sitting on the seat. Cody, you right here?
Sam, how you doing?
How are you doing?
One more thing.
Still live? It says live. We can see them. That's right.
We'll do that.
Am I at the same this is page? It should be, yeah. Ibrahim, when have I put Do you have them on your Facebook? Can you check? That's your page, right?
So hard. And I showed my mom. She's about it. I was like, no, get close. And I was like, I don't feel so bad.
Go to my account.
Yes.
You know what? Since our money is very
So I have to.
Oh, yes.
That's not life right now.
I want to try and get like
Vamos lá.
or like
دكتور هذا شو
five years. I'm a practice graduate. Yeah,
If you write down any notes, you have to
Now, you have a stand for the mic and
why rivalry matters.
I want you in the message, but I can't answer. Did it go through? Yeah. Hey. إذا بقى إذا. Can you do it? Come on, you. You did it? You went through? No, no.
قالوا التصوير حقك تمام بس الصوت مش واضح.
الصوت مش واضح. Thank you. I'm glad you didn't leave.
أخذ الفيلم
Sure.
Yep, exactly. You got it. Yeah.
We just have a quick announcement. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. we have the Hamtramck City FC. Mr. Muhammad, can you come here for a second? The volume editor, can you hire a little bit? The volume focus. As you guys know, the Hamtramck City FC won the championship for the Yemeni American League. We have an annual event that goes once a year for a whole week. This year was in Alabama, and the Hamtramck City FC won the championship. And we're celebrating tomorrow. It's supposed to be at Keyword, but due to the rain, we changed the location to Frontier High School at 4 p.m. And the vice president of the team is Mr. Muhammad Hassan. You want to say something? Welcome everybody tomorrow. And you invite all the candidates.
السلام عليكم. أتمنى التوفيق للمرشحين جميعا إن شاء الله. أهني وبارك إخواني أبناء الجالية اليمنية وكل الجاليات ولمدينة هامترامك عموما ولولاية ميشيغان بتحقيق الكأس الغالية والبطولة الغالية بطولة الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية للجاليات اليمنية والتي أقيمت في ولاية ألاباما بفترة من 27 يونيو إلى 1 يوليو، وكان لفريق هامترامك سيتي تحقيق البطولة وانتزاع اللقب بكل شرف من بين 12 ولاية كانت متنافسة على البطولة. كان لنا الشرف حصد البطولة. نهدي هذه البطولة لمدينة هامترامك بكل أطيافها بأبنائها لكل ميشيغان، ونتشرف بدعوتكم غدا إن شاء الله لحضور حفل تكريم الفريق الحائز على البطولة، وكذا الداعمين للنادي الساعة 8 ساعات بعد الظهر في فالنتير أكاديمي انترناشونال على كوننت ان شاء الله. نتشرف بحضوركم جميعا ونهديكم هذا الفوز جميعا ان شاء الله.
He's saying that this championship is a gift to the city of Hamtramck, and they would love to announce that tomorrow. And all the mayor and the council members that are elected right now will join us tomorrow. And all the candidates. We're starting.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. This announcement for the audience. We will start hopefully in 5 minutes. Ibrahim Ayash, and he's coming in right now. And inshallah, we will start in 5 minutes. Okay, during the debate, please everybody kindly be quiet and have your phone turned to silent mode so there will be no distraction during the debate. Also, all questions and comments should be written down in a piece of in the postcard and handed over to anybody up front. We'll read your questions. All repeated questions will not be asked. And all comments that contains disrespectfulness comments will not be read. And if you have any comments, it will be after the debate. All questions and comments will be after the debate. During the debate, please kindly be quiet and listen to the candidates, and we will come up candidates to this debate. And we will start, the guys are ready, we could start right now. Brian, you ready? Yeah. Okay, so we'll start. Good luck to everyone.
Good luck to all.
And one more thing, every candidate was confirmed. We have everyone except one person, which is Khalil Rifai. Either he's busy or maybe he forgot. So we'll start now.
Do we have another mic?
I got it.
All right, good evening everyone. My name is Abraham. I'm a lifelong Hamtramck resident. I also have the honor of serving as state representative for House District 4, which includes all of Yapac and a portion of Detroit. I will be co-moderating this discussion and debate with another longtime Yapac president, Ahmed Al-Waisi, which I'll have him introduce himself in a second. Just want to go over the format for tonight, so there are no surprises, and we set the expectation for tonight's discussion and debate. So we're going to have two sections to today's debate. The first one will be for City Council. And City Council, we have selected 8 questions that, at the co-moderator's discretion, we will ask several of those questions to all of the council candidates. We will begin with a 1-minute opening statement for each council candidate, which means there are 7 of us that will be giving statements for 7 minutes total. And we will also then give each candidate a minute to answer each question. The order will be random per question, and each candidate will have an opportunity to give 2 rebuttals. So each rebuttal will be 45 seconds, and the rebuttal that it was directed to, that candidate will have a 30-second opportunity to respond. So I'm going to give you guys an example. Abu Musa, I'm going to use just the folks right next to me. If Abu Musa answers a question, Cody is allowed to use one of his 2 rebuttals to answer back to Abu Musa. And then to that point, Abu Musa will have 30 seconds to respond back to Cody's point before we'll move on to
Bluetooth disconnected.
And the Bluetooth is connected. So, additionally, after that, we will continue on to the portion with the 4 mayoral candidates. And the mayoral candidates will be a similar structure, except they will have 5 questions that we will ask all of the mayoral candidates, and they will get a 3-minute opportunity for an opening discussion, followed by a similar format. Each mayoral candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each respective question, and they will have an opportunity again for 3 rebuttals. And same situation, 45 seconds to rebut, and then the candidate that the question was directed to, or the response that was directed to, they will also receive a 30-second opportunity to do so as well. With respect to audience engagement, there will be an opportunity for audience to submit questions, and I believe the questions will be directed to several members of the Yapac board, including Sam Al-Asri and Anwar Badawi. So if you have any questions at a certain point, please write them down. In the interest of keeping the questions concise and short and not giving too much commentary, we want to be able to focus on the questions. So write the questions down if you have some. The Yapac board will see if there are if there's the same question written multiple times, they will paraphrase it, and then we will give an opportunity for both the council and the mayor to answer those questions at the very end. The only request from the audience is if you have a question specifically for council, please indicate that. If you have a question specifically for the mayor or the mayoral candidates, please indicate that in your questions. Are we okay with the ground rules? Can I get an affirmation from the crowd, or are we all asleep?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to hand it over to Ahmed Al-Waisi to introduce himself and ask the first question. Ahmed, which will be the opening statement for the council members.
All right, so my name is Ahmed Al-Waisi, and thank you all for being here. We're just going to get right to it. Let's start with this is just for the council debate, so we're going to start with a 1-minute opening statement. If we can start on this side with Mr. Assad.
And just a second, just want you guys to know the sound that'll play when you guys give your opening statement. So you will hear this when your time runs out, and we will try to be as strict as possible with the time to respect everyone and make sure we're ensuring a fair opportunity for people. If you have an iPhone, it's very similar sound. I'll just play it on this microphone for you all to hear it very clearly. That was not the sound. Yeah, if you guys can keep that off for now, we might actually use that as the actual sound. Okay.
Sorry.
Technical difficulties. Okay. Apologies about this, folks. But as always, things go right 10% of the time. This is the sound. All right, we'll kick it off. I'll hand it back to the co-moderator for today's discussion, Ahmed Al-Waisi.
Do you have a mic? Oh, let's get started.
Was it me?
Is that your phone?
Please go.
Turn the speakers off.
Okay, these speakers off. Yeah, the speaker is really nearby, that's why. I got here.
You got a mic?
I think this is close from the speaker. Yeah, just close. Get lucky. That's the first one.
Okay, you pass that? All right, go ahead. This way?
Should I sit down instead?
Hello, good evening. This is Armani Assad. Thank you for giving me opportunity to introduce myself and with the debate. Thank you, Yapac. Thank you, everyone. I am Armani Assad, living in 22 years in the Hamtramck City. I have a small business, and I'm running here. Also, I'm studying in criminal justice, completing the law, 2027. And I am I work in the community past 2001 until today. Last pandemic time, we were out there helping in our community. During the passing the food door to door, and testing COVID tests in the public, also vaccinate for after first responder in thank you.
Can we mute our phones?
That's
Oh,
the time.
that's
No,
the
that's the
I'm
time.
so sorry. I'm sorry.
That's why you stopped.
You two stop.
Should I go? Good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to forum for the debate, or you can call candidate forum. I'm really glad to see so many beautiful faces here from city of Hamtramck. My name is Mohit Mahmood. I live in Holbrook, Hamtramck. I came to United States in 1996. I was at New York, then I moved to Michigan. I got bachelor degree in Bangladesh in Chittagong University. When I moved to the Michigan, I went to Mekong Community College. I got few credit. I don't get enough credit to finish my bachelor degree because I'm a middle class family, so I have to maintain my family. I was married, I got kids, so unfortunately this is what happened. And I'm running for city council. I need your help. Currently, I'm the president of Bangladesh American Democratic Caucus. Also, I'm the vice chair for the Democrat Party, Democrat 14 district, as well as the United Local 24 labor leader. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, and thank you for Yapac again.
Hi everyone, my name is Adam Abarmaki. I'm full-time electrical engineer student at Wayne State University. I'm running for a seat in Hamtramck City Council, and I'm running a platform of transparency and improving the finance, working on improving the city finance situations, and increasing the community engagement. I work for GM, General Motors. Because of COVID, they laid us off, so I'm laid off now. And I hope I could get your vote on August 3rd. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Peace. Hi, my name's Amanda Jakowski. I am running for City Council. I am a Master's in Public Administration candidate, which means I finished all my coursework. I took the exam, and I'm just waiting for the results to make sure I passed. So a lot of the stuff that we learn in the MPA program is things like budgeting or things like evaluating policies to see if they're practical, to see if they're effective, to see if it's worth the cost of doing them. And so I want to bring a lot of that stuff to the table so that we're making sure that we're bringing the best policies that are practical, policies that people can understand, and make sure that we're bringing all of that together with some transparency, like Adam said, as well as, you know, efficiency, effectiveness, and other things that are really important for the city to focus on. So thank you very much.
I think we have to. Okay.
Hello, I'm Lynn Blasi. I have been a resident of Hamtramck since 2012. I have a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Middle Eastern History. I studied at the American University in Cairo, Egypt. And I have a strong background in community service and community activism, and one of my strengths is bringing diverse people together to accomplish common goals. And I plan to do that on council. I'm running for council as an extension of my community service and dedication to Hamtramck, to make it a place that all of us can, you know, grow and thrive, and that attracts businesses and runs efficiently. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace, everyone here today. Thank you for Yapac for having us here tonight for this forum. My name is Khalil Rifai. I'm a Hamtramck resident. I live in Middle Street. I've been in this neighborhood in the city for a long, long time. I've been serving this community for many years, since a young age, since I was 16 years old. The reason I'm running for city council, I believe we need a change in the city of Hamtramck. We need the right team in the city council that will work for the best of the city and the citizens. I'm also a chaplain for our police department and also for Wayne County Sheriff. I build bridges between community members, organizations, and between the people and the government. It's by me seeing everyone here tonight, you know, I'm really glad that we have in this forum here today, so we could see which candidate will say what they want to, you know, what's their goals and their forms, if they want to get your vote and your lucky. Thank you very much.
I am Cody Loud. I am a public school teacher, have been for 7 years. I'm a Hamtramck homeowner. I live on Belmont Street. I have a master's degree in geography with an emphasis in urban development processes and urban infrastructure investment from Michigan State University. I'm running for city council because I love this city, I'm dedicated to this city, and I believe I have the experience and the education to be able to make a positive change here. I'm running on 3 major tenets. So 1, small business investment. We know we have a lot of fiscal issues going on right now. We need to attract businesses from elsewhere, but also streamline the process for people here to open up a business. Second, improving our public school facilities. Now that's obviously tied to the first. We can't really do that until we balance our budget. And third, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think it should be required of all city employees and city officials to undergo diversity training so we can have these really important but also really difficult conversations in a really culturally competent way. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and all the audience. And thank you, Yapac, to arrange this wonderful event as a Canadian firm. I'm Abu Ahmed Musa. I came in this country in 1996. Before I came in, I finished my bachelor degree in National University in Bangladesh. I started living in New York and New Jersey. I started my job as a bank teller. Then I used to work in Patterson Public School as a substitute teacher for a couple of years. Then I moved to Michigan, and when I came to Michigan, I involved with the community activities, and I was run for this community for City Council 2014. And people of Hamtramck, they trust me and they put their support me, and they elected me once. Then 2016 they elected me again. 2015, 2 terms I served this community, and I like to utilize my experience to the city of Hamtramck. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We're going to get started with the first question. Mr. Mahmoud, we're going to start off with you. We're going to everybody's going to get a chance to start. The first question is, what is your impression of the current state of public safety in the city of Hamtramck? It's a 2-part question. The second part, is there anything that you feel needs improvement? If so, what steps would you take towards making these improvements?
Thank you so much, Mr. Ahmed. It's a great question. And as you know, city of Hamtramck needs a lot of attention. There's so many improvements that we needed. And safety, if you look at my card, my first point is improve safety and security for the residents. So this is my first goal. We need to improve safety and security. We need to, our police department, if you need to increase them, we need to increase them. If we can lay out them the way city demanded. What's need these service more and what's don't need more. That's something, if you need to adjust, I'll do that adjustment. Make sure that people of Hamtramck City feel safe. That's going to make us to bring more business to city. If people feel safe, they will come visit. They will spend money. They will go to groceries. They will go to restaurants. That's something important for our city. And I'm sorry, what was the second question that you?
Basically, what is your perception of public safety in Hamtramck, and then what steps would you take to improve public safety?
So when you get into safety, as I mentioned, a few things about police department, our fire department need to be improvement. Also the road, that speeding is a huge issue that I've been hearing for many people when I'm knocking door. So that's something we need to focus. I recommend to having more speed bump to the Hamtramck areas. I see many on Detroit area, there's some speed bump, but we need more in Hamtramck areas as well. I know probably down the road it's going to come a question, how are you going to fund the money? Where are you going to get the money? That will go down to the road when this time comes, but I'm not going to go too deep. But as I said, those are the major things that we need to improve our safety and security. We need to have the public administration that work due diligence for the residents of Hamtramck. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Ledbecky, we're going to ask the same question. What is your impression of the current state of public safety in the city of Hamtramck? Is there anything that you feel needs improvement? If so, what steps would you take towards these improvements?
Public safety is crucial and is our first priority. I believe we need more police in the street patrolling, and also we need to more training for the police and the fire department to learn how to train people in different diversity community. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're getting the pattern.
Do you want me to repeat the question?
I got it.
Okay.
So I think that the Hamtramck Police Department does a great job on response times, which I know might be surprising for a lot of people, but anytime that I've had to call them, they've been there, within minutes. There was one time I watched a woman get mugged outside my house, and before I could even get out there with a towel, her head was bleeding, before I could even get out there with a towel, the police were already there. So this is really important for me, and that's where I think it's good to start with something positive, right? Now we have the speeding issue. We have, you know, potential solutions. We're testing the speed bumps right now. They're gaining support. I know, you know, we've had some positive changes in ideas, opinions on those, so we can start looking at getting grants for those and stuff like that. But I think that we also need to look at how the police interact with the community. And I know for the most part they do a pretty good job, but it is something, as I'm knocking on doors, I actually had a gentleman just shut the door in my face, then he reopens it, and the first thing he said was, "Tell me when there's not white police officers." And I said, "Okay." And he shut the door again, and I walked away. And so I think that building the trust between the police department and the community has a lot of different ways to do that, and we can focus on things like community policing. We can work on we have a citizens patrol, we have people who are reserve officers who are in the community in other times, and making sure that we're building that trust between the community and the police department is going to go a long way for making us all safer. So, thank you.
Same question, would you like for me to repeat it? Or?
I've got it written down too, thank you. So as my colleagues, fellow candidates have mentioned, speeding is definitely a hot button issue right now. And I think one of the biggest things we can do, besides having enforcement of that, is looking at our master plan. There are things in the master plan called traffic calming measures that change the streets and the layout of the streets to make it harder to speed. We need to implement that as often as we can. I'm actually working on some projects with representatives from Eastern Michigan University this summer to implement some temporary traffic calming measures to see how they work, to see what the community response is to them. They should roll out this fall, late summer, fall, we're still figuring that out. And some of those include like looking at safer crossing areas in long stretches of road where there aren't crosswalks. Narrowing the road where the road is extra wide to make it harder for people to just, you know, speed around another car. And I do want to echo what Amanda said. Our Hamtramck Police Department has excellent response times. I think that is something that we really need to pause and acknowledge because that's important. I was one of the people that called the police last Sunday when the child was hit by a car. The police were there in less than 2 minutes. That's important. That's something that I commend our police officers for. And I think we can support all of these processes with clear communication and educational programs to help the community understand what we are actually working on and the role and purpose of those programs at all levels of community. So, you know, we can build a safer Hamtramck. Thank you.
We are in public safety. It's one of the important things in our city. As everybody know, I'm part of the police department with the reserves and also with the chaplain corps. Regarding safety, like some of my colleagues have been spoken, people actually complain about speeders, people that are speeding in our city. It's a really an issue in our city. As our department used to be a bigger department. We had many officers on the road, but because of the city budget, we have less officers. I'll try to do my best if I'm elected and try to work with our with city council and administration. Let's try to increase our police officers if we have the budget for it. The more officers we have, the safer we will get. The less people will speed. Like I said, I've been living in the city for a long time. When there were more officers on the road, we have to think twice before doing anything stupid. And like some of my colleagues have added, safer sidewalks, bike lanes for people who ride the bikes in the city. So we really got to focus on that. Now, hopefully, if I make it in the city council, I'll try to do my best to really focus on public safety and also build bridges between, and that's what I've been doing as a chaplain and being part of the department. Try to build bridges between the communities, the youth, and the police department. And also, if we will hire more officers, there will be officers that will go to programs to know diversity and culture. and I will do if I make it city council. Thank you.
So obviously the most recent kind of hot button issue is the speeding, and the reckless driving. I am a fan of the speed bumps being put in. I realize there is a significant financial hurdle there. So as was previously alluded to, looking for unique ways to fund that is definitely something I would be interested in doing. But as a teacher, I work with young people for a living. I like to have more of a proactive approach. I believe the police having a positive presence just in our community rather than just penalizing, which obviously is part of the job as well, but just making sure we're building those relationships with the community, but also with our students in Hamtramck Public Schools. Making them understand that if you care about your community, that going 40 miles an hour down a road is negative, it harms your community. So just making sure that there's that connection there, so when someone chooses the speed, they understand they're harming their community. But also, kind of going back to my third major tenet of my campaign, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think it's important that, like I said, all city employees go through this diversity training just to make sure we're having positive interactions with the residents of the city. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll repeat the question. So, what is your impression of the current state of public safety in the city of Hamtramck? And then is there anything that you feel needs improvement? If so, what steps would you take towards making these improvements?
Public safety is a big issue of the city of Hamtramck. We need more police to provide the security of the community, and everybody discuss about the speeding. In front of my house, car driving almost 45 miles per hour. My nephew, my kids, they are playing on the ground. So we need to get more public speed humps to at least reduce the speed for the who is speeding there. Police need to put more action for the who is speeding around this area. Sometimes can you put the device that can record it, the plate number, who is driving and who is speeding. This is the way, at least if somebody is speed over, at least police can go back up them and bring them justice. Second thing, we need to have more police and more fighter also, but we'll go deeper and put the budget, where the budget coming from. And police is very important. Police and community need to be bridged together. Once in a while, we can get the community meeting with our residents, with the police also. Thank you.
Can I ask you if you could put the mic a little bit down? Because the voice manager is making like a lot of sound. No, it's fine.
All right, Mr. Assad.
Thank you again. I pretty much know the question.
Would you like me to repeat it?
No, that's whatever I say, I'm going to say it already. My running mate said it, but only thing I can point it out: safety and security is very important for the community, and it's not only one man job. It's not a council person job. It's not a mayor job. It's not a police job. It's also parents need to be alert with their kids. Also, school teaching. It's a final year, the student getting the license, they're very young. They need to focus, parents need to focus into their kids where they're going. That's stopping more things, And also speed bumps. Speed bump, yeah, I've seen some of them in there, but we need more working on a speed bump. Also, hiring more police officers. I agree with that, because police officer, we need more. And also I'm requesting the Hamtramck police officer to trawling every street, so it's more safety will be there. And that's pretty much I can say. Thank you.
All right, for the next question, we're going to have Lynn Blasi start us off. Lynn, what suggestions do you have to increase the involvement of residents in the decision-making process of changes related to the city of Hamtramck? How have you been involved in the past?
Can you say it one more time? Sorry.
Sure. What suggestions do you have to increase the involvement of residents in the decision-making process of changes related to the city of Hamtramck? And how have you been involved in the past?
Now it's on? Yes. Let me see. So I think one thing that's been really positive that's happened during COVID is that city council meetings are more accessible to a larger portion of our community. We have now closed captioning available so people can follow along at home. It's live streamed on Facebook. And more people understand the process. We have residents looking at board docs and really, digesting the information on board docs, looking at things before council, talks about them in meetings. And I think that's a really positive thing that's happened, and I would like to see more of that. I've been very involved in city council meetings through Zoom and watching on Facebook when I don't have anything productive to add to the conversation. And so I think more opportunities like that, if we can continue making our meetings even after they go back to in-person more accessible to the community, will really help the community stay informed and know what's going on. And then one way that I have worked recently in involving the community is I've worked on petitions and community gardens, and I've pulled together several different residents, probably for the planter box project on Campo. We've probably had plant donations from over 20 different residents. We've had another 20 different residents help provide labor on those projects. I pulled people together for community cleanups and things like that. And okay, that's it, thank you.
Would you like the question repeated?
Like my colleague have spoken, I encourage everyone to always get involved in our city council. Now it's an easier way to, instead of having a day off or take your time and go to city council meeting, now it's on Zoom. So it's free, and also there's other assets of Facebook, all their social medias where, I encourage all our citizens and all members to actually go on Facebook and watch city council and other pages. It's simple, it's easy, you can watch it at home or work, anywhere where you get a chance. But me getting involved with my community, like I said, I've been active in the community for many, many years. Anything that happens in city council, I try not to miss any city council meetings since a younger age, either by city councils where I used to attend, or now it's much easier by Zoom. It can't get easier than this. Anything that really happens, and it's something that's really important to the community and to the citizens. As we know, we have a lot of citizens in our city of Hamtramck that do not speak English. So that's where I come and I try to help them out to understand what's going on and what's happening in the city council. And I will continue doing that, and hopefully in time we will have more other ways of not only Zoom, and also to continue Zoom even without the pandemic. And that's why thank you.
So I think it starts with trust and honesty, which is tied to transparency. I think a lot of residents are hesitant to get involved or maybe discouraged because they feel there's not this transparency within council. I also am a big believer of just organizing civic projects, even unofficial ones. Like I organized a trash cleanup in March, and that's actually, I think, where I met a couple of the other candidates for the first time. Just getting to know residents. I think people are going to feel a lot more comfortable approaching a council person or the mayor or anyone who works for the city or works for the residents if they've met them before, if they know them, if they feel like they can trust them. Because as council, we are public servants. We are serving the residents of the city. Yeah, so I would like to continue to plan public events, cultural events, even cleanups, things like that. Just to get to know all the residents, and hopefully, if I'm elected, they would feel more comfortable to come to me and be involved, and we could build that relationship.
If I could just, quick interjection, we're asking candidates to please give specifics about how you would increase involvement for citizens in the decision-making process. So please consider that in the response to your questions. Thank you.
Whenever the councilman, the council meeting starts every other Tuesday, twice a month. So I urge people to come to the council meeting to see what's going on, and what the council is doing for you guys. And last pandemic, this is most of the council meeting doesn't go to person to person, it's go to Zoom. You know, more people involved and watch those what's going on in the city council. In my suggestion to in future, if I go to the person meeting, still can you leave the Zoom or Bodak to watch the whole community our council meeting, and they can involve there. Thank you.
Mr. Assad is the next person. Would you like the question repeated, or?
Oh, not yet.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Gabe. In my perspective, and I will let my citizen know to make sure attend the council meeting, so you can find out what's going on there, and also getting to know as a council person, getting to know your citizen when you have a time and meeting with them and get to know each other, and ask them if they have any concern. You can hear that, and if you can solve it, or you can bring that issue to City Hall. And during my campaign time, I'm going to door, make sure I can answer if they have any question. If I become or not, still I'm citizen. So that's really bridging with the council person and citizen. And I will urge everyone, if you have any question, you can feel free to ask. And you are a citizen, you are feel free to ask. Thank you, that's all.
Is it me? Thank you, that was a great question. This is one of the most important questions as well. I see frustration from our citizens among people complaining. We do vote for the people, and when they get elected, we don't see them again. So what we need to do, we need to build bridges among ourselves, the community, elected officers. We don't make distance. We need to build trust and honesty among ourselves. So what we can do, if I get elected, I'll have a town hall meeting very often with the community. And we need to know what community is looking for. We can sit down on City Hall and pass so many bills. Is it going to the people's favor? If that's what they are looking for. We need to figure this out by talking to the community. And this is what I'm going to do. If I get elected, I'll talk to the community very often. Then make sure I know what we're doing, I know what they're looking for, and they know what we are doing. So we need to have the bridges among ourselves, and they need to know. I mean, council coming to the City Hall for these council meetings, which is great things, but I understand people have other obligations, and they have to take care of their kids, school, work, husband, many things to do. So I mean, this is a great thing if people can show up, but we need to go to them. We can't just invite them to come to City Hall.
It's our job, not once in a time, in 4 years when vote time comes, go and ask for vote. We have to visit their house and ask them what they're looking for to get done in the city. Thank you.
I will encourage people to come to the city council meeting that just watch it from home. I've been to city council meeting, I have spoke there, and I'm member of Hamtramck Citizen Patrol, and I've been engaged with the city council.
All right, for this next question, we're gonna.
I'll be pretty quick. So one of the big things, like a lot of people have mentioned attending city council meetings, which is super important, but like other people said, people can be busy, and that's fine because that's why council people are there. We're there to make the city run, and we're there to receive input throughout the week so that we can use the input from the residents to make the decisions in the meeting, right? And so one of the important things to do is make sure that we're talking to a variety of people so that we understand across the board what is the opinion of all Hamtramckans. Obviously, not everyone's going to agree, and one group of people might have stronger opinions on something than other people, and that's something to take into consideration too, so that we can understand the general sentiment towards a topic in the city, so we can be using that to make our decisions. So an example of what I've done in the past is in the spring there was the street harassment resolution. So it was brought forth by former Councilman Parada, and he had gotten some input from different people in making this, and but there was some pushback from different activists from Hamtramck and outside of Hamtramck for concerns about what it was actually saying. So what we did was there was some strong support, there was some other support, and we put out a call and said, any women in Hamtramck who want to come to this meeting, come to this meeting. We're going to do it on Zoom. We're going to talk about it. And right there, we drafted a new ending to the resolution. And there's people in the room. I'm not going to point fingers, but there are people in the room who were there and helped do this. And we had a good cross-section of people. We had people that were still in high school. We had people who are getting up there and we're, you know, well-earned stripes, right? And so we had a very diverse group of people that helped to redraft that resolution, which ended up passing unanimously. And that's one way that I know how to get people's voices, is to actually talk to people, bring people together in the same room and brainstorm together so that we can come up with something that everyone is happy with and we have that buy-in. So that's just a short example. Thank you very much.
Yes. Yes, so we have two candidates that are going to use a rebuttal. Cody indicated initially that he wanted to use one, so we have 45 seconds. And if it is directed towards a candidate or just a general response, you have 45 seconds.
Thank you.
Give me 1 second, I gotta set this up. 45 seconds from now.
So again, to reiterate, trust, honesty, and having projects, but also a bit more specific, having council debriefs. So I know attending a council meeting, even via Zoom, is a bit overwhelming for some people. Whether that's language barrier or just they haven't done it before and they don't really understand what's going on with the specific issues. So having some sort of network of debriefs, so having community leaders, whether that's council members or just people in the community who are interested, holding debriefs in smaller groups, smaller communities, maybe the next day, maybe the day after, where people can express their concerns, express their opinions, ask questions, maybe they would feel comfortable asking in the actual council meeting. Thank you.
And Lynn is also using a rebuttal, starting now.
Okay. I forgot to mention that there are several boards and commissions in Hamtramck. I am vice chair of the Arts and Culture Commission. Serving on boards and commissions is an incredible way for residents to get involved in areas that they're experts in. I have a background in art and culture, so serving on the Arts and Culture Commission makes sense to me. In addition to being official members of boards and commissions, there's also opportunities to serve as advisors and on subcommittees working on specific projects where you wouldn't necessarily have to be appointed to the commission at large. And so encouraging more participation on that level is something that I've already been working on. We have a very active Arts and Culture Commission, and that's it. Thank you.
Could I input? I'm done or can I demo?
Would you like to use a rebuttal?
Yes, please.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ayash, for giving me another opportunity. So that was a part of the question, how have been done by you? I forgot to mention that it's been so much things that I have done in the community, maybe a community abroad. I was able to do a blood drive from the Hamtramck to the Red Cross. I have done the Black Lives Matter to the one of the biggest organizations, Bangladesh American Democratic Caucus. And also I have done the many other things during the pandemic. We also distribute food programming from the what is called across from the right front of the what is called the state office right front of the yes, Human Services office right there. Thank you, appreciate it. So we have done many things. Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. So before we continue, is there anyone else that wants to use one of their two rebuttals? Okay.
I forgot to make it clear that I've been volunteering with Hamtramck Citizen Patrol for the past 2 years, and I've been volunteering too many events, cleaning and passing food and everything. I mean, a lot of events I've been to. Thank you. That's it.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna for this next question. We're gonna start with Adam. So if elected, you'll be expected to work in conjunction with the school board, the Hamtramck School Board. Are there any issues you'd bring forth and hope to have addressed?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, I would work with the school board, but we need to have more trade school opportunity for the student. Degree is great, but we need to we need more hands-on skills for the student, and we need more trade school, and that's it.
So with the school board, I think that currently Hamtramck Public Schools is on a very positive trajectory. And I think that the leadership under Jalila Ahmed and the school board that as is doing tremendously well. We're seeing a lot of improvements. We're seeing capital improvements. We're seeing positive results from students. We're seeing students winning competitions for poetry and stuff like that. So these are all really solid things that are coming from the school board that's currently happening. The only issue that I've ever really seen with my own eyes with the school board is, again, on the issue of transparency. There have been some questions from residents and teachers about certain things that were on the budget, and they were told, you have to come to the meeting. Like, we won't answer your question without being in the meeting, and that's where we kind of get into a little bit of trouble, because like we said in our introduction, not everyone has time to go to the meeting. Not everyone has that ability, especially when they're teachers and they're coming back from a school day and they have to prepare for the next school day, or they're building their curriculum or worrying about what the students are doing. So I think that a little bit more responsiveness, which seems like a pretty small issue, but it can lead to larger issues in the end. So if there's one thing, it would be the transparency of it.
All right. So I think one of our biggest roles is to support the good work that the public schools are already doing, as Amanda already listed them, so I don't need to. And one thing that I can bring to the table is I work at a local college. I work at the College for Creative Studies in Detroit, and helping bridge connections between students who are interested in art and design career fields. My department itself we provide free art and design classes to Detroit area kids. We've had several programs in Hamtramck, so increasing those relationships and seeing how we can better serve Hamtramck students that, even though that's not as city council person, maybe I have a little bit more leverage that way. And really working to encourage more connections to support services like my department offers, career programs, what's it called? Exchange programs where high school students can take college credits. and supporting the public school system and really helping project our students into their future careers. Thank you.
Regarding public schools, I think we have a great public schools in our city, in the state of Hamtramck. I went to the Hamtramck Public Schools. It's a great system. Like some of my candidates have said, transparency. I think there's a lack in the board. I wish they could be more open, have a more community engagement with the community, what's going on in the school board. Like last election, there was they were trying to increase their millage, but they were not really clear to the citizens. So I'm hoping, they'd be more clear. And I'm willing to work if I do make it city council to work with the school boards to have more programs in our community, where programs will benefit the youth in our city, where it could be either programs that deal with driving or any programs, any summer programs that we could help work as a team with the city council and city board. But they've been doing great. They purchased another building. Hopefully they open more schools. Myself, I encourage public schools more than anything else.
Thank you. I have a great deal of respect for Superintendent Ahmed and the district in general. As I said earlier, one of the big tenets of my campaign is to improve our facilities. Obviously, that takes a lot of money. Every student who enrolls that district receives more than $8,000 from the state of Michigan. So I taught Detroit Public Schools for 4 years. Over those 4 years, I taught probably close to 150 kids from Hamtramck. 150 times more than $8,000 is a lot of money. And you all know, walking around and driving around Hamtramck, we see those yard signs. My kid is a Cass Tech graduate, or my kid is a whatever school. So it's not really a criticism, but more I'm excited to work with the school district to try to promote our schools so the families can decide that this is what's best for them. So every family should be able to send their kids to the local public school because that should be the best option for them in their household.
Hamtramck is a immigrant community base. A lot of people coming from the overseas bring their kids, and a lot of complaints I got. The kids need more students in the class. A lot of students that cannot speak English, so I'm now school doing the best of their ability, but still need to get hire more teachers to get the immigrant kids who don't speak English to bring them the actually little bit upgrade for their skills. When I was councilman, my mayor is here, Madam Mayor is here, our councilman was here. We do couple meeting, school board and the city council. We try to get together, work together, improve this community, improve the school board also. As an example, we work for the Keyword Stadium funding also. So my urge to, if we get the elected, I have to more work with the school board, the city council. Thank you.
Is it me?
No, leave our mind.
Thank you again. I will definitely supporting the school board, whether I become council person or not. This is the one path the student comes out with the good qualifications. And I'm very supportive with the public school. And our Hamtramck public schools is one of the best. There's so many students become, it's an honorable student too.
Sorry.
Okay. Like I said, if I become a council person, I will work with the school board and improve it more systematically what school needs it. And public school is one of our school is better than other. I mean, all of us are good, but I don't mind to say it. But our school is the better opportunity comes out if we can help each other.
That's all. Thank you.
Ready? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. It's a great question, and I just want to mention this is one of my topics that on my car. If you look at the other side, that I work with the school board to improve our quality of education. So, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me, Hamtramck School is a great school district. There is no doubt. But there are always room to improve. So we need to find those room where we can improve our education. As one of my colleagues said, that we see so many Detroit school districts sign that they went to Detroit school or Troy school or so on and so forth. We need to work on how we can keep a student in our district instead of going to the different areas. So what we need to do, what is the lacking of these people? We're making a mistake that people getting attracted to go to other sides. That's what we need to find out and find a solution for this. And I'll work with the school board definitely to get the improvement, what we need to improve. If I have to go to the state legislative to get more funding for this school, so make sure our kids get better at school and they don't have to go to somewhere else for the better education. Because Hamtramck is a great city, great diversity, we need to boost it so we can get more educated people from our city. And as you know, education is the backbone of the nation. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everybody. So this is going to be our final question for the council candidates. And we're going to start off with Khalid. So what plans do you have to contribute to the advancement of the community as a whole?
There's many things. One thing, like I said, our community, most of them don't speak English. And we will try to do as much as you can to inform our community what's going on. If things have to be translated to either meetings or anything so they can understand, why not? Our city, they've been doing, I think they translate to Arabic and Bangla, some of their meetings in city council and other stuff. So we need to encourage, continue doing that. Let our community know, inform them what's going on. Anything that we could continue having our community know, inform them what's going on in the city, it's a plus. Even though our city, our citizens, most of them don't really attend the city council, and the reason is the language issue. So how can we, process more of engagement with our community as much as we can?
So I believe the three things that I keep going back to, I think, move our city forward. So by improving our economy, by highlighting our existing businesses, bringing in outside investment, bringing people in here to spend money at our neighbors' businesses, but also trying to bring in investment from people in Detroit and elsewhere to start businesses here. Streamlining the process to open a business so they don't give up and move elsewhere. Like I said, improving the Hamtramck Public School facilities. The future leaders of the city are current Hamtramck Public School students. So we need to make sure they have the best possible facility environment to learn in. And then diversity, equity, and inclusion. We need to be able to have important conversations. We need to be able to include everyone and work together and understand that we need to respect everyone and be one Hamtramck. Thank you.
Can you repeat that question again, please?
Sure. What plans do you have to contribute to the advancement of the community as a whole?
If I elected, first of all, I like to work with the business community. We need to generate more business in the city of Hamtramck. We cannot increase more taxes. Our people are very much low income. And if I elected, I like to work with our police, fire department, and city government, our administrative office, to make the way we can survive and balance our budget also. Thank you.
Sure. What plans do you have to contribute to the advancement of the community as a whole?
All right, thank you again. This is the final. First of all, it's very important for building a bridge with City Hall, city official, and public, which is citizen. We'll do that first. And there's a since 2000, after there is no businesses empty, almost empty in Joseph Campbell. We'll call out the businesses. Once the business comes out in a city, there is more revenue comes out. Once the revenue comes out, city income will raise. This is a more important. I will focus into it, and also be in relationship with others. Why people coming into our city? What's the interest in our city? We need to build the interest for the people to come our city. Safety and security, and that is the more important. And the raising the taxes, we will working out with taxes rather than raising the tax. We can work out some way, somehow we can fill up the gap. And that's a pretty much, be in relationship with our citizen, also call out the people and outsider coming, We have a very good city, diversity. There's a bilingual, many languages here, as a Muslim city, among with the others. So this is very interesting city. Everyone loves to come. We will invite the people come to our city to visit it. And thank you all to being here and listen to us. And thank you. That's all.
Are you concluding this question, or this just a question?
Yeah, this is the last question.
This is the last question. Well, thank you, and thank you all of you, and thank you, Yapac, for the fantastic event. If I get elected your city council, my goal is to bring more money to the city. And bringing more money, we have to work with the community, bring friendship among ourselves. This is one of the most diverse city in the, I would say probably in the America. So how can we combine all together, work together, friendly together, go to church, go to mosque, we all, we need to bring up bridges among ourselves. Also, we need to have a clean environment. So doing this, we need to have the volunteer service to our community. And we need to find out some volunteers from the community that can help us. Then, as I mentioned before, our police department doing a fantastic job, but we can work always, as I said earlier, there's always room for improvement in every occasion. So we find out what needs to be improved to make the city more safe, so we can get more visitors to the city. They'll be confidence to come to the city and invest their money. We need to find the investors who can invest in Hamtramck to get the revenue, so we don't get the burden of taxes to the residents every year. That's something very important. I see a frustration for every door-to-door. When I knock on the door, everybody has the same question, and I understand a city has to run by tax, so I'm not making any commitment that we're not going you're not going to pay taxes, but I'll try my best to, instead of increasing tax, keep it that you are paying right now. So this is my goal to work with the legislative, as I said. I'll bug the Ibrahim Ayers as long as he is the state rep. We'll go to the Congress, Senate, to get as much money as much as we can from the Biden administration for the what is called infrastructure plan they have already declared. So this is a lot of things that we can do, but we have to work together with the other councilmen as well as the elected mayor. And this is my goal and this is my plan. I love to work. I'm a working person, work ethic. And thank you all, and thank you my wife that coming in and spending so much time for me. And I want to thank you the audience and listening to me. And anyone have any question, I'd love to answer. Thank you very much.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. What plans do you have to contribute to the advancement of the community as a whole?
Establish communications and keep moving the needles and grow outside the investment. The city needs more money to fix the road and the alleys and grow businesses in Hamtramck. What will do this is by sitting down with business owners outside the investors and show what Hamtramck can offer to the businesses. We could, offer them 1 year no taxes like Detroit did. We have to offer the new investors new stuff, new plans. We have to come with something to bring new revenue to Hamtramck, and we have to increase decrease the taxes for their first year in Hamtramck within the city. And thank you.
Okay, so obviously money is a big thing, right? So we all know that Hamtramck needs more money, right? There's ways that we can get grants, and I know we do a pretty good job at getting grants already. We get money from the state, and there's other things like that. And that's definitely something we need to look at as a team and keep moving forward. As for me in particular, one of the big plans I have is actually looking into green infrastructure and seeing how we can incorporate that into the city. How can we get rain gardens to help reduce the effects of flooding? How can we get more trees? Because trees take a lot of water and they reduce the amount of pressure on the sewage system. And so I went on a tour earlier today and I was learning more about that. So I'm really excited about continuing to look into that. Another thing I think that we should do as a city is start bringing in, we should pay attention to cycling safety. We have the Joe Louis Greenway coming, right? Hooray, that's awesome. That's additional traffic coming here. That's people on bicycles that can easily hop off and run into a shop to pick up a soda because they're hot, or to pick up a dress, to run an errand, anything like that. So this is a way that we can increase our business, but we need to pay attention and make them feel safe coming through here. So speeding is obviously an issue. Driving fast is an issue. People driving and parking in bike lanes is an issue in Detroit. And I'm hoping that we can head that off and not have that happen here. And so that takes our police department understanding the laws, that takes residents understanding the laws, that takes people who are riding in from Detroit or other areas understanding how to cycle safely. And so that's one thing that I'm definitely dedicated to, is addressing cycling safety to make sure that we make the most of the infrastructure advantages that we're getting in the city.
So the first thing I think we should focus on is attracting businesses. There are several empty storefronts. We need to make it easier for people to rent those spaces, streamline and clarify the processes, support businesses staying open through community programming and city marketing. Our diversity in the stores that we offer is an asset. We should be selling that to people outside of Hamtramck to come here and give us their money. Also having attractive and accessible streets in shopping districts. I'm working on that through the planter boxes. There's also, working with the Joe Louis Greenway. I'm working with the DDA right now on a grant application for more bike racks, and making those bike racks into pieces of art. Also in supporting residents. We need to have clear and accessible access to the forms, rules, and ordinances from the time people are considering purchasing a house to the time when they purchase, as they remodel, as they make repairs to their homes, if they choose to rent out that property, and then as they prepare to sell their homes. Right now, I've talked to a lot of residents where this process is confusing. The forms are confusing. And oftentimes residents don't even know where to find the forms or what the steps to take are. So making that more accessible, and as Khalil mentioned, having as many forms as possible in the languages that Hamtramck can speak. Also through beautification efforts. We need to have vibrant and safe parks, more cleanups or trash cans and things like that to make sure that there isn't garbage and tumbleweeds rolling through our parks. And we need to take ownership of our story as a city. And really quick, all this comes when we have a strong city council that works together through our differences and plans ahead as a team.
Thank you. Thank you. We just want to clarify something for the audience. So of the 8 council candidates that are on the stage today, 6 will advance to the November general election, at which point we will have a more thorough discussion amongst the candidates. We will dedicate a significant portion of the time for the 4 mayoral candidates, but we did want to close off with an important question because this is pressing. So as you all know, there is a proposal on the ballot this August on whether or not to give the city an option to utilize up to 10 mils to pay off debt regarding our constitutionally required retirement payments to our police and fire. This is a fact. We as a city of Hamtramck are responsible for fronting this cost. It is a larger policy issue, but I want to use this opportunity to make it clear to folks that if we do not look for a solution as a city, a court and a judge can mandate what we have to pay because it is required by law that we are covering these costs. Now the question of, how big were the pensions? Was the city dealt a bad hand? Those are questions that cannot be resolved because these decisions were made many, many, many years ago with the expectation that residents of that respective community cover the significant portion of those costs. This is state law, and we are happy to have a broader discussion about this later on. But before we end, we want a simple yes or no question, answer from our council member candidates. Do you support this ballot proposal that would give the city the option to leverage this millage to help pay off the debt that we have regarding our retirement costs? So yes or no question. We're going to start with Abu Musa and just work down. It's a simple yes or no, and then we're going to proceed to the mayor. You can put a thumbs up or a thumbs down actually to save the time. So thumbs up or thumbs down. We're going to start with Abu Musa. Do you support, yes or no, the ballot initiative? No commentary. You can say yes or no, put your thumbs up or down. We'll make this as quick as possible.
Still, not decided yet. I'm still thinking, I'm still starting all those.
Okay, so on undecided. Cody?
Is that an option? That's why I haven't submitted my ballot yet. If I have to say yes or no, I will. But.
Well, we prefer a yes or no, actually.
I can't support it. No. Yes.
It depends. Like I said, if we could sit
down,
if we could sit.
It's in the interest of being fair, we could say yes or no.
It's like I said, you have to really let the people know why it's going to increase. And what's the option if they don't vote? Why is it going to go to another step? So I think by us really educating our citizens so they can understand why I'll say yes or why I say no.
So there's no response, Mr. Rafai. Okay. So there's no response from Mr. Rafai. Lynn?
Tentative yes.
Tentative yes.
I am slightly on the yes.
Yes. Adam?
No, because there's many
that's
generous.
No, that's all. That's all. Mr. Mahmoud?
No. Undecided.
Okay. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. These are your 8 candidates. Remember, you can pick up to 3 on your ballot. You don't have to pick 3, but you can pick up to 3. The top 6 vote getters in the August primary will then advance to the general election in November, in which 3 of the 6, the 3 top vote getters will advance and be sworn in as your next city council members. We thank you for your time, and we appreciate your dedication and your willingness to run.
The main camera.
With respect to the audience questions, I just want to emphasize, we are going to ask a select of those questions. We did get an overwhelming response. We did get a whole bunch of them that we will ask, depending on what the YPAC board has screened, for addressing as questions. Anything that was not asked, if it's appropriate for the council candidates in the next forum, we will absolutely share those questions with them at this point. Now we'll advance to the mayoral candidates. We have 4 members of our community running for mayor of Hamtramck. 2 will advance to the general election. You can only vote for 1 candidate in the August primary and obviously 1 candidate in the general election. So of the 4, the top 2 vote getters advance to the general election in November. And from that point, the highest vote getter in the general election will be the mayor of Hamtramck beginning of January. So with that, we're going to start with the structure. We're going to remind folks what the structure will be.
Guys, you want to take a 5-minute break a little bit?
No.
Want to take 5 minutes?
No, it's fine. Let's continue.
Keep going.
So,
Go ahead.
mayoral candidates will have 3 minutes for an introduction, up to 3 minutes. You don't have to use all of it. For your opening statement, randomly selected by my co-moderator Ahmed Al-Waisi. Each candidate will then have up to 2 minutes to answer each question, and you will have up to 3 rebuttals for 45 seconds each. And then, if that is directed at a specific candidate, that candidate will have 45 seconds to respond to you as well. Are we okay with the guidelines and the rules for this debate? All right, we will have a total of 5 questions touching on 5 issue areas in the city of Hamtramck, but we're going to start with an opening statement. Who's the first person that will start? Okay. So it looks like Saad Al-Masmari will have 3 minutes for the opening statement. You have 3 minutes to address the crowd. Beginning now. Again, you'll hear the same sound that you heard from the city council question, the city council part of this discussion. You can proceed.
Hello everyone, my name is Saad Al-Masmari. I'm a father and a husband. I'm Hamtramck resident since 2009, and I am a council member since 2015. And most importantly, I am Hamtramck resident. Thank you.
Next up, Mayor Maskey.
Hi, everybody. Most of you know me already. I'm Karen Majewski. I'm the current mayor of Hamtramck. I've been mayor since 2006. Before that, I was on city council president, and mayor pro tem for 2 years. Before that, I sat on the historical commission. I'm a past president of the Michigan Municipal League, so I represented every single city and village in the state of Michigan, nationally and across the state. I'm a PhD in American culture from the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. I studied immigration and ethnicity, and I still publish and write and speak across the whole country about those issues, actually sometimes internationally. I'm a published author and continue to speak and lecture on these topics. I've been a champion, I guess you could say, of diversity and inclusion since my ascension to City Council in 2003. That is who I am. That's how I've represented the city of Hamtramck in front of the whole world in the news and in the papers. And I hope that I'll have a chance to continue to represent you.
Mr. Rahman.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening. I'm Asam Rahman. I'm running for mayor. I came to this area 35 years ago with my family, my mom and dad. I attended Hamtramck High School. I went to Wayne County Community College, and I went on to get my bachelor's and master's in finance from Walsh College of Accountancy and Business Administration. Currently, I'm working with the City of Detroit for 25 plus years. I'm a departmental fiscal manager. I did start with DWS, the Detroit Water and Sewage Department, and I acquired extensive knowledge about water, how system works. I was project manager for several projects, including the rate separation for the sewer and drainage. Also, I functioned as an application analyst for a few years, and then I belong to Board of Trustee I was elected Board of Trustee for Wayne County Community College last year. I am currently the 17th year running as president of Frontier International Academy, and I see a lot of parents are here from Frontier. I'm also former president of NAACP. I had the honor to be the second Asian in the nation and first in Michigan. Also a member of Michigan Coalition for Human Rights that deals with the human rights issues. So I look forward to share my ideas and hear from you, and hopefully it'll be a good night. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amir Ghalib, and they put me next to Madam Mayor, and she has upper respiratory infection. I'm afraid that it's COVID, so please,
I should have worn my mask.
if I get infected, Yapac is responsible. So my name is Amir Ghalib, and I came to the United States 22 years ago. I was in 11th grade when I came, and I finished my last year of high school in Hamtramck High School. Then I got my bachelor degree from Wayne State University, and then I went to medical school out of state for the first 2 years, and then I finished my third and fourth year of clinical science in Sinai Grace Hospital. Took my board exams, I finished my medical school, and then while I was waiting for my residency, I was doing more schooling, and I got more certification in healthcare to be able to serve the community in more efficient way. I have been working in Hamtramck Medical Group for the past several years, serving the people in the medical field. During the COVID pandemic, I was in Indiana. I worked in ER and ICU, and then I decided to come back to Hamtramck to serve my community. I am a frontline worker and a healthcare professional. We are risking our lives to save the community. There are some moments when I was hugged by COVID positive patients, and we are still serving the people in the front line. I am also a community and political activist. I am one of the founders of the International Council for Rights and Freedoms, known now as the International Council for Relief and Development. It has so many activities overseas in Yemen mainly, and I'm willing to transfer my experience to serve my community here in Hamtramck. I'm a father, a husband, and a father of 3 beautiful girls. And I'm running now for the mayor of Hamtramck. Don't have much experience in the city hall, but I promise you when I get to the developmental stage of Madam Mayor and Asim Rahman, by that time, which is known by Erickson as integrity versus despair, I will have so much experience and accomplishment by that time. So, thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. So for the first question, we're going to start with Mr. Rahman, and the topic is public safety, and we're going to kind of push you to answer the question, so we're going to push back in this forum. So safety has been a high priority for Hamtramck residents this election cycle. Specifically, reckless driving, often by young men, has concerned many residents. Additionally, Hamtramck residents want to ensure there is safety, reduce crime, and reliable response services from fire and emergency services. How will you lead the city in addressing these issues?
So there is a reason why city budget, about 60%, some cases 70% of the budget goes to public safety, fire and police. And many people don't realize that public safety is a 24-hour job. It's literally three shifts that they are covering. So we need to make sure they're funded adequately. And then there are enough trained officers, trained firefighters. They're ready at 2 a.m. when you have the call, emergency call. Your relatives, the firefighters will show up before anybody else would. So we have to make sure that they're well trained, well equipped, and we're not threatening them in any way and demoralizing them, police or fire. The training is very important for police department. I want to make sure that we have funding available, be it locally or through grants or federal grants or any grants that's available. We're going to make sure that we go out and get those money for our public safety. After post 9/11, we had lots of grants available, they dried up. So we have to make sure the city continue to serve its residents, the public safety wise. Speeding issue, I know we're putting a lot of the barriers, speed barriers, the speed bumps. Now, that alone will not solve all the crimes in the city. It'll reduce the speed. But also there are larceny, theft, and break-ins that's happening every day. When you turn on the city scanner, you'll see it's very active police department. Fire department, you will hear them going. You don't have to listen to the scanner. So they're doing an excellent job, and I want to make sure that there is good partnership with the city, with the community, and then also include the community policing so that they also benefit and work with the blood clubs to make sure the public safety is adequately and effectively used.
Okay, also kind of a new process. We're going to put this up at when you have 20 seconds left, just to give you some insight on where you stand from a time standpoint. So next person is Sad.
Thank you. Public safety is very important, especially in Hamtramck, and I think Hamtramck is a unique on this. We have a great police department, a great fire department, and we also have a greater community that provides the safety, because safety is kind of cooperation between the city and the government and the people. We don't see no drugs in Hamtramck, we don't see no crimes, we don't see no high crimes. I think I've been saying it for a long time that we have a great Yemeni American community, and wherever they stay, wherever they reside, they spread the safety, they spread the economy improvement. So thank you. We have a great Hamtramck police, and we are supporting it 100%. And whatever they need, we will provide them as a council for now, or as a mayor in the future. And we also thank our residents for being watching for each other, watching for the neighbors, for the residents, and for whoever they see in the streets. Thank you.
So just one more thing. So specifically this part of the question, reckless driving, often by young men, has concerned many residents. Do you want to speak on that issue?
Yeah, about 2 or 3 council meetings ago, we approved having speeding bumps, and that will reduce a little bit. And we also need education for our parents. All the parents, they have to have educated, or actually thinking of not giving their kids speeding cars or renting it for them, and then give them the key, do whatever they gotta do. They gotta watch out closely their kids. You gotta educate your kids as well. So we had about 2 weeks ago an accident. A little girl, 12-year-old girl, was about to, she was hit by a speeding or reckless driver, and that's sad. And I encourage our police department to watch this closely, and encourage also the parents and the residents to, wherever they see speeding person, come take a picture of the license plate of the car, and then send it to the police department or go there and complain. We have to help the police department reducing the reckless driving. Thank you.
Mr. Malibia.
All right, so safety is very important, and we know that everywhere, every time, security is the fundamental of prosperity in every place you live in. So not only the police is responsible and the firefighters for our safety in this community, we also are responsible to help them. And education is very important. We should educate the people, get the parents involved in the public schools, and educating the people on the high-risk issues that can put our safety, or that can jeopardize our safety. So we also in the medical field care a lot about our safety. So if you only think that we should be careful not to cause an accident or anything, that's wrong, because in medical field we do screening to find out for issues that can put your life at risk. For example, depression is one of the leading causes of disability worldwide, and so in medical fields we do screening for depression to discover it, to find it before young kid can go on suicide. And you know, there's a high rate of suicide in the United States and in our community as well. We also screen for falls for the elderly. You can fall and that can, you know, put your health at risk. We definitely going to support the police and the firefighters. We need to add some, you know, oversight, citizen oversight board to build bridges between the community and the police, so they can be educated about the police, and they can offer, you know, they can be culturally sensitive when they serve the people. And for the speeding, education, speed bumps, radars in intersection and school areas, penalizing the people who don't care and that can increase revenue to our budget as well.
Thank you. So every community is concerned about public safety. It's a primary concern no matter where you go. But we've seen some real issues come up within the last couple of months in Hamtramck, especially with speeding. We've had also some violent crime erupt in Hamtramck that's not unusual to us at all. We've had 2 murders. So there are a lot of concerns right now about public safety from a number of different kind of directions. One thing that we need to talk about if we're talking about speeding, there are multiple ways in which we need to approach this. One is I think more strategic enforcement. We spend a lot of time, I think, and I don't judge the police chief on how she manages her officers. I'm not a professional law enforcement person. But I think that there's a general consensus, and I think I share it, that the deployment of our limited number of officers on the streets needs to be more strategic. We know where folks are speeding, right? And it's not so much of a public risk on the service drive, for instance, or on I-75, right on the expressway, as it is on our residential streets and on Joseph Campo and that area at Hamtramck Drive, for instance, where just yesterday we witnessed some sketchy behavior by some young men. So we need to think about, we've got limited resources, public safety resources. How do we deploy them in places where they really will make a difference? And I would also say, we've talked about cooperation with the schools. I think this is a good way for the city to be in conversation with the school district about how to educate young people to keep them and all of us safe.
Thank you, Madam. All right. For the next question, we're gonna start with you, Mayor. This is on budget and taxes. For years, Hamtramck has faced budget shortfalls. Residents have complained about high taxes, but the only way a city can function is primarily through city income and property tax. What ideas do you have to address the concerns of residents about budget? And please be specific.
So, if I've learned anything over the last, more than a decade of public service, it's that you cannot cut yourself out of economic problems. You can only grow yourself out of them. And that means economic development. It means recognizing your assets as a city, what you can build on. We've heard about some great ideas from our city council residents about what's important to the city, what we can build on, how we can attract new businesses. Those things have to happen. So those are things that happen kind of on the ground through the city administration, through the city council, through the mayor's office, etc., through our relationships with the state, in which we petition for certain resources, for money, for tax revenue, for revenue sharing money. That's been a problem for all cities in Michigan for years and years and years now. So we cannot cut, and actually our experiences with state takeovers have shown us that we can't cut ourselves out of the problem. So we need to find ways to grow. That doesn't mean growing taxes by taxing more people more. It means by growing our tax base. I think that it's pretty much a given that there's a lot more money in Hamtramck than is recognized. We work as a small community. There's a lot of cash economy here, and that money never makes it into kind of the picture of the city. So one reason we have trouble in attracting investment is because, the big business guy, looks at our numbers and says, oh, Hamtramck is a poor city. Nobody's got any money to spend. Why would I invest here? Oh, Hamtramck is poorly educated. Why would I invest here? Nobody's here to buy my product. We know that that's not true. All we have to do is look around. So we have to tell our story better. We have to make sure that our story is accurate, that people know who we are and what assets we have here, that we build on those assets. There are, I see I'm getting the red card. But as I say, it comes from building on what we have, recognizing what we have, and telling that story to folks who can help.
No, the next person's going to be Sai.
This is a great question, and I have put my highest priority. My campaign platform is the budget, and many people have seen that. The budget has a very dark future in Hamtramck, and we have to find a way to get rid of that issue. We have to do two things as a mayor and council. And by the way, the mayor cannot take a decision by themselves. They cannot make the budget better or worse. They have to cooperate with the city administration and the city council. We have to increase the taxpayers, not the taxes, to try to find more taxpayers by bringing more residents, more businesses to Hamtramck. And we also have to decrease our unnecessary expenditures. If we do that, we will have some money, we will have a good budget to serve the community and to provide more services, maybe lower water, better streets, better public safety. أنا أول من شندان عربي as well. يتكلم السؤال عن الميزانية، ماذا ستعمل الميزانية؟ فقلت أن الميزانية هي لديها مستقبل مظلم وعلينا إيجاد حل لهذا الأمر. إيجاد الحل هو تقليص الصرفيات الغير ضرورية في المدينة، والحل الثاني هو محاولة جلب دافعي ضرائب أكثر، وإذا حصلنا على ذلك وأنا سأعمل على ذلك سنستطيع حينها إذا توفرت لدينا ميزانية جيدة دعم المواطنين وتقديم خدمات جيدة لهم عن طريق إصلاح الشوارع، تخفيض المياه، وعدم رفع ضرائب البيوت أو العقارات. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to lay some foundational rules. We expect all answers to be in English to keep the discussion fair and gives the entire audience the opportunity to understand, as well as the respective candidates to have a response in the event that they would like to have a rebuttal. So moving forward, please ensure that all of your responses are in English. Thank you.
We're going to go with Mr. Ghalib next.
Okay, so we know that the mayor does not have the absolute power to take decisions. It's a teamwork, and a lot of people confuse the rule of the city manager with the rule of the mayor on day-to-day operations. So it seems like we're going to have similar views with some people. I have always been saying that I'm not going to support increasing the taxes unless we have exhausted all the other options. And I give an example. Last year they were telling us that repairing the schools, the only way is to increase taxes. And 2 weeks ago, Representative Ayash and his team were able to get us $35 million from the state to repair the school. So there was another option. And now we have to study and do some research and see, is that the last option that we have? Otherwise, we still can ask for grants and try to support our budget in Hamtramck. I always said that we can also increase the number of people who are paying taxes in Hamtramck because we have such a hidden unemployment in Hamtramck. We need to encourage people to report their income and pay taxes, and we need to put some educational program for the newcomers, for the immigrants, to make them more, more qualified to do more productive jobs. So increasing the productivity in our city can increase the revenue stream. A lot of people are unemployed in Hamtramck. We have a big number of unemployment. If we bring some investments to Hamtramck, we will be able to get these people to work and pay taxes. A lot of them can't work because they don't have transportation or they don't speak English. We can find some program for that. Also, trimming the unnecessary expenses is very important. When the state took over, they did that and they left us with $2 million in surplus. We can do that as well.
I'll repeat the question again, please.
Okay, well, so for years, Hamtramck has faced budget shortfalls. Residents have complained about high taxes, but the only way a city can function is primarily through city income and property tax. What ideas do you have to address the concerns of residents about the budget? And please be specific.
So I agree that we can't tax ourselves way to a budget solution, because what we heard at the very beginning, all the council members and everybody said that we need more police officers. So one of the problem in economics is you have unlimited demand and limited supply. So there is no perfect solution to anything, but we have to make do with what we have. So having said that, and I'll give you the tax example, why I am not in favor of taxing people to our budget solutions. So we have to plug the holes that we have to see where money is being wasted, or if it's being appropriately used. And I know there's lawsuits, we lose money. I know that the contractors are doing job, and I don't know if we are holding them accountable for. An example would be the parking lot that next to the Green Valley Market, I think. If I'm making a mistake, forgive me. But immediately I saw from my window, and I saw a lot of water, and 2 a.m. I went out there and took a picture of it. And then that got fixed, because this is citizen section. As a citizen, I did bring that up to people's attention. I know it didn't make a lot of people happy, but citizens' actions is one of them. So holding contractors accountable is one of the most important things. So that if you look at Holbrook Avenue, the yellow markings, they're coming off less than 2 years. That's not quality. So who is maintaining the quality of our work, our taxpayers' money that's being invested? And then tax issue, let me come back to the tax issue. When I bought my house on Canif, tax was, the person that I bought it from, $962. Today, the tax went up to $3,032. Without having this tax increase, it went up by 239%. So I have 20 seconds left. I gotta give you a specific solution. So I believe I can find $1 million, and here is how. Detroit, Hamtramck, and Highland Park, all these surrounding sister cities or neighboring cities, if we will, we have the lowest income tax. We collect from 1% from residents, 0.5% from non-residents, and 1% corporate tax. Highland Park has 2 corporate. Can I please finish this? And so, if
Mr. Rahman, if you'd like to use one of your rebuttals, you may.
Okay, thank you. So Highland Park has 2 residential, 1 non-residential, and corporate 2. Detroit has 2.4 residential, 1.2 non-resident, and corporate 2%. So if we see the lowest rate for tax rate is Hamtramck, so we can adjust it because they have a reason why they have this tax rate. If we get rid of 3 parts income tax form, that is like ridiculously 12-page long if you're using the common form, and simplify this, and then simplify 1-page tax form, and then increase corporate tax to bring it to the local level, I think we can find 1/3 of our tax revenue, $3 million that we have. I think we can find at least $1 million additional funding to plug the budget hole.
Thank you. Thank you. You have a rebuttal?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, sorry, Dr. Ghali mentioned that when the state left, they left the city with a $2 million, budget surplus. Where that $2 million came from? First of all, the state borrowed $1 million. The city had already asked the state to borrow $1 million. The state wouldn't lend it to the city, but it would lend it to the emergency manager. So that's how we ended up with $1 million out of that $2 million. It was because the state gave it to us, gave it to the city, to the emergency manager when they wouldn't give it to the city.
The way emergency management works, they cut departments, cut community and economic development. If we're talking about attracting business and telling the story of our city and attracting investors, we need a robust community and economic development department. First thing to go under emergency management. That's how they end up leaving us with a surplus.
Mr. Vadier, you have 45 seconds to respond.
Okay, so it seems like whatever we have done in the past did not work. So we are trying to come up with new ideas and new vision because people have voiced their concerns about the problem in the city, and every solution that has been done was not effective. So I think we should not have repeated any of the current administration ideas. We should come up with new ideas, and I think we are coming with fresh faces and fresh ideas to this position, and you may have to try us now because you already tried the previous administration and their ideas. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I have a follow-up question for everybody on this issue. So some candidates have brought up the issue of residents' income not being reported, and that's kind of hurting us in the long run because large businesses don't want to come to the city, right? So what ideas do you have to address this issue? How can we issue? And we'll start with you, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, you'll have a minute and 30 seconds for this follow-up question.
I don't have a single solution to that problem. I think that it's a matter of education. I think that it's a matter of understanding of civic engagement. I think that it grows from community roots. So I think that those conversations have to happen within families and within communities about the importance of following the laws and how that benefits everyone. So I don't think that there's a simple solution for that, and I don't think that the solution is necessarily stricter enforcement or something like that. I think that the solution comes through an understanding of civic engagement and of our roles as part of a community.
Doctor, go ahead.
So the unreported income is a difficult issue. We have to educate the people, like I said earlier, to increase the number of people who are paying taxes. Some people don't know the advantage of paying taxes early in life and what it can bring to them later on. And some people, they are just voluntarily not working. We don't want to force them to work, but we can, by creating more job opportunities here within the city, we can solve the problem of the people who have difficulty with transportation or with English. They can't speak English. We can provide them with programs to educate them. I know so many people who come to me to the clinic and say, especially females, they say, do you have a job here? Anything, I will do anything. So there are some people who are willing to work, but they are not able, either they don't have transportation, they can't drive, or they can't speak English. So we can find job opportunities and bring investments that will help these people be productive members of the community. And education is very important. We know people that regret not paying taxes or not reporting their income when they get older, and they wish that they had done it the right way before, so they can get all their benefits later on in life. So it's a matter of education more than enforcing any kind of codes on these people.
Unreported income is a common issue in Hamtramck and Detroit. And imagine, I've been talking about this for a long time. Imagine you have more than 50% of Hamtramck population, they're not reporting their actual income. And at the same time, they are expecting a government to provide them with services. How come you're not paying? Some people making 70, maybe 80 or $100,000, and they are reporting at the end of the year $18,000, $15,000. And they are the first people screaming about the services, screaming about the streets. How do you expect services and you're not doing your part? You're not paying what you have to pay. If you want services, you have to share, and you have to pay your income tax, you have to pay your property tax, and you have to be a good resident. I think as Madam Mayor and Dr. Gal mentioned, this is not a mayor job to educate people. It's a family thing, it's a school thing, it's a business thing that they have to educate themselves. This is for you. If you want services, you have to pay taxes. Clear. Thank you.
So I actually believe there is a solution that we can find. I think I have a minute, right?
A minute and 30 seconds.
Minute and a half. Okay, so it starts with our tax department. We have one employee tax department, and he or she is overwhelmed, and she's also serving Highland Park. So we need to have adequate employees serving the customers. How many of you filed your taxes and still got a notice that you didn't pay your taxes? You don't have to answer, but I know the answer. A lot of them. Okay, frustrated people. So we need that. We need to have a better simplified tax interface with the state. We're filing a tax form. The Detroit form, when businesses are filing taxes, they are required to file 1099 and W-2 together electronically. We can't file electronically. We have to make a physical drop-off at the city hall. And those of you who work in government, you know that when you are dealing with paperwork and deadline and everything, it's really overwhelming. So I think our tax department needs help. Okay, so and simplifying the form and simplifying tax rates so that it also helps. That person has to calculate and find out how much you owe. Can you imagine any tax preparer here? A lot of them are here, I know. And it's manually doing so is very difficult. Okay, so we have to make sure that we do that. E-file and ACH payment, and then going after people that are, because we don't know what people owe us. We don't have electronic interface, so we need to have that done. It'll cost extra money, but we can get it done because I work with City of Detroit Treasury, and I know there are ways we can mitigate a lot of these problems.
Thank you. Next up, this will be directed towards Mr. Gallup as the first person to ask the question around diversity and division. So diversity is oftentimes seen as a huge asset for the city of Hamtramck. We pride ourselves on being the world in 2 square miles. Yet, we've seen more division and disconnect recently, especially with the advent of many, many Facebook groups. Our City Hall is still largely a white-staffed institution, despite Hamtramck being a majority community of color. How will you seek to bridge the divides in our community? And how will you ensure City Hall is more reflective of the community? You'll have 2 minutes.
So this is one of my priorities to encourage diversity in our city, because I can see the division, it's serious, that's happening either within the city council or within the community, or the city council versus the community, and so on. So we should understand that the division that we have in the city is coming mainly because of the lack of understanding and of the differences between each other. We should, it's okay to disagree with each other, but we should utilize that to learn more about each other. We should be united by our ideas and not divided by our differences in the city. So we need to encourage, hold some town halls and community forums to learn about each other, to answer the question of each other that people have some concern, and that way we can build bridges between each other. When it comes to the employment in the city hall, I also encourage diversity in the police department and the administration of the city. So I encourage people to apply and not to be afraid of the government positions, and because people don't like to work for the government. So this is also one of our priorities, to diversify the employment in the city hall, and to just encourage diversity, because this city is like a little America. It's it has people from everywhere, and we should be proud to have that diversity in Hamtramck. So like I said, we should be united by our ideas and not divided by our differences. We should be proud to practice our values and beliefs, and under the First Amendment we have the right to do that, but we should not impose our values on each other. You know, you can't force me to be with or against someone. I am with everyone, and everyone has the right to choose, and we support the freedom of choice, and we support everyone, but we don't support imposing our values on each other. Thank you.
Kamal.
So diversity is very important because Hamtramck prides itself being the most diverse in the nation and maybe in the world. Who knows? So diversity is our power, and what we are not doing is we're not connecting with our communities versus community. We're just confined to our own self, if you will. And if you go to a restaurant, for example, if you go to a Yemeni restaurant, chances are you'll see more Yemeni people. Although it's not so good, not so for the Yemeni restaurant. But Bengalis and Yemenis or Bosnian, I think as a community we need to promote our businesses and our diversity and bring people together. And when we talk about diversity and the city hall, sometimes people use scare tactics that if any of us get elected, Muslims get elected, or the current leadership changes, then maybe somebody is going to fire everybody in the city hall. That's totally wrong, and I really don't like the idea of scare tactics that people use. We like our employees at the city hall, and I respect them highly. I work for a government myself, and I know turnover, how it affects the productivity. So we'll have to make sure that we're not scaring people and threatening with their job. Now, diversity, I did work with different communities. With NAACP, I was there for many years, worked with different groups, arranged for different meetings and understanding. And everyone that lives in this city will have to be represented equally. There is no advantage over another. And then, if we look at our Prophet's sermon, that no man or woman has the superiority over the other. So we have to serve everyone equally. And that's how we promote and appreciate diversity.
Thank you, Mr. Rahman. Diversity is very important, especially for Hamtramck. And I think we have to recognize, and we have to be brave enough to recognize that racism does exist in America. If we say that doesn't exist, we're lying to ourselves. Racism does exist in America, and Hamtramck, Michigan, and they are part of America. We have to fight for that. We have to be against whoever thinking they are better than the others. We have to fight against whoever is thinking they are citizen one and this guy is citizen number two. No, we're not. We're all Americans. We're all equal. There's no difference between me, you, her, she, or there. We have to work together. As Mr. Rahman mentioned, you might see a Yemeni or Bengali or white or a Bosnian restaurant. It's okay for them to hang out with each other, as long as they're not against the other group or the other guys. And we have to recognize that we have people in Hamtramck from different religions, different backgrounds, and that's okay. That's the beautiful of Hamtramck. We have to accept each other. We have to work and understand and respect each other. This is the thing that should happen in Hamtramck. And one of my important things that I focus on is the employment inside Hamtramck City. We have to have Hamtramck City Hall represent its population. It's not normal. It's not okay for Hamtramck to have 95% of its employees from a certain race or a certain religion. We have to have Hamtramck City Hall represent its own population. We have to have Black African American. We have to have Yemeni American, Bangladeshi American, Iraqi American. All the diversity in Hamtramck has to be represented and reflected if you go to the City Hall and see its employees. Thank you.
Yeah, so everyone values diversity. That's why we're here. That's why we live in Hamtramck. That's why we love it. The problem of kind of managing and maneuvering through a diverse country, that's why we're here. And that's one of the things that Hamtramck sets an example for in the world. As I've said many, many times, it's not Disneyland, right? We struggle with this, we work through it every day. We work through it with our neighbors, we work through it with our employees, in our day-to-day life. That's the beauty of Hamtramck, that's what makes living here so exciting, and that makes us a kind of living model for the world of how people can do it despite all the obstacles. I want to say a few things about City Hall itself and the efforts that have been made to reflect that diversity that Councilman Al-Masmari has talked about. We have made a strong effort to hire across communities, and especially Hamtramck residents if we can, and I think we've been doing a pretty good job of that recently. We have diversity trainings. All of our city employees and our police officers and firefighters can tell you this, that they frequently go through trainings specifically about diversity and dealing with diverse communities. Our signage is now in English, Bangla, and Arabic throughout City Hall. Our major publications, as far as we can afford to do, because it's very expensive, are translated from English into Bangla and Arabic. So we are making within our means a strong effort to serve everyone and to make everyone feel at home in Hamtramck. We've established ordinances that guarantee the sovereignty of your information, whether you're an immigrant or your immigrant status, stuff like that. We can talk about this more. I have a lot to say about diversity.
Thank you. The next question is, we're going to start with Saad. Hamtramck prided itself on cleanliness and upkeep. Recently, a volunteer group came from the south to clean up in Hamtramck. While this was a kind gesture for a tight-knit community, this is unacceptable. What will you do to lead the council and city administration in dealing with excess litter and pollution in the city? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. A clean environment is very important, as the same as safety. This coming Tuesday, the councils are approving the street sweeping. Hopefully it will get approved. And we have talked about this a lot of times. That the government cannot alone take a decision and make the city clean. The city will be clean by you, by me. If you drink a bottle of water and throw it to the street, the government will not come the second day or second minute to clean up for you. You have to do your part to clean front of your house, front of your yard, front of your business. And if you see someone who's not cleaning, you can report it to the city, and the city has a law enforcement to enforce that. So the city can take their own part, but at the end of the day, the residents, they have to do the same thing. One of the things that we see in Hamtramck is front of the businesses. I think we should find the businesses more than residents, because if you are providing services to Hamtramck as a business and you're not clean in front of your business, this is not good. We need to specialize this, and we need to focus on have our strict law enforcement and cleaning in Hamtramck. Thank you.
Kamal?
Cleanliness and trash is a big problem in Hamtramck, but Hamtramck is not unique. It's a problem everywhere. What we need to do, can we make Hamtramck better than anybody else? Definitely we can, but it needs to be a partnership, an initiative, not individuals. We oftentimes see that cleaning programs and events starting up during the election season. But to do that, we can't have election every year to do the cleaning program. So spring cleanup happens every year. The mosques schools, religious institutions, they are doing it, but they can take more action and then educational programs. And I also said in my previous debate that city should have a welcome package that details about, immigrants that come here. They come from a different culture. They don't know where to put the trash, recycle, and all that. So this needs to be, we can't assume that they know everything. We can't blame them for not knowing it. We have to do everything to educate them, whether through when they come to this town or through any institutions or organizations. We have to make sure that they understand. And also, I see that we don't have the recycle program that other cities does. And then those the water bottles and everything, people don't have anywhere to throw it to. So I think we can probably work with recycle facilities to have a regular pickup, and then that way we can do the cleaning program. Now we have weekly cleanup, but sometime after cleaning is done, you can hardly tell anything was done. So we have to also, like I said, we have to see the people that are supposed to do it, hold them accountable. Thank you.
Mayor Maskey.
So, cleanups have always happened, not just in election season. There have always been community groups, block clubs, etc., who have been working on community cleanups. We thank them for that, and it's no different now. That's part of what happens. What what the other candidates have been talking about. It's all true. It's a combination of factors, right? It's education, it's government, it's partially enforcement, it's community groups, it's individuals, it's education. All those things come together. Everything, it isn't rocket science, right? I do want to talk a little bit about the street sweeping that Councilman Al-Masmari mentioned, because the prospect, it looks like, would be $60,000 to clean every single street in Hamtramck once a year. Is that even going to make a difference? We know now you clean up in front of your house one day, and that afternoon something from I-75 is blown in front of your house, right? So is it even worth spending that $60,000 on once a year sweeping your street when maybe we could put it toward other kinds of efforts against littering, whether that might be signage, whether it might be increased enforcement, whether it might be increased education, whether it might be town halls and facilitation of those kinds of events. So there's a lot of ways, all these factors may come into it. It's a part of an ongoing conversation between all these different actors in making our city cleaner. And I think that it's also infectious, right? When you see your neighbor cleaning, then you get out there and you're shamed into cleaning your own yard, right? The recycling I'd like to address also. Again, it's a matter of money. As soon as we bring in all this great investment, recycling is, right up there.
Dr. Golub?
Okay.
You have 2 minutes.
All right. So I talked last time about, 2 ways of preventing this problem, the trash problem. There is something called primary prevention, and the mayor learned that term last time, and she said. And there's secondary prevention. So the primary prevention includes educating the people. Kamal Rahman mentioned that some people don't know where to put the trash. That's not true. That's insulting. This is a common sense. You should know where to put the trash. This is in every culture. So I go with secondary prevention for these people who do this on purpose and throw the stuff on the street. They should be penalized, and the city code should be enforced. And this is another way to increase the revenue with another source. So another way of primary prevention is educating the people, using volunteers, and providing scholarships to the top volunteers from school who participate the most. This is some incentives to encourage people to make it a behavior, make it a habit, cleaning the street. This is common sense. I see some areas very miserable, and I think the trash can should be, yes, within reach and everywhere, but people who don't care about keeping the city in the best shape, they should be penalized. There's no excuse, and we should keep teaching people, educating people, about the important and the risk of throwing stuff on the street, it can have some consequences as well, health issues and stuff. So I would stick always with the primary and secondary prevention for these issues, trash, speed, and I think it would be very effective if we follow it.
Thank you. Kamal did request to use one of his rebuttals. This is now his second one. So we'll have one more after this.
So, not knowing something is not an insult. I came across a lot of people that don't know where to put the yard waste. And I know that many people know, and some people probably don't know, that you have to put it in front of your house, not in the back in the alley. So those are the teaching education that's important. Also, I came across some business owners' concerns where in the business district, that they're considering like whether to continue on after pandemic because of their businesses have gone down, and then this district is not attracting businesses or new people because the trash everywhere. And they say that people don't come from outside, or even it's walkability. If it's nice, and people go to park because it's beautiful. So we need to make sure things are clean, especially in our business district. And then I agree, the businesses should be responsible for their own stuff.
Okay. As a follow-up to this point, what have you done up until this point? Whether you are an elected official now or just someone running for office, where have you shown leadership in addressing this issue prior to being in the role of mayor? Or if you are a mayor right now, which is specific to one person, how have you shown an attempt to address this issue or lead by example? So we'll start with Kamal and move down. And you'll have a minute and 30 seconds.
Trash issue?
Yes.
Oh, follow. Okay. So I have attended and actually organized trash collections and spring cleanup. I do volunteer. Whenever I see one, I just don't take selfies. So you probably don't know. But I do, there are mosques that initiates the CWA and other organizations that do it, and I highly encourage people to do that. So that's one. And also, when I see people are doing it, sometimes when I can, I bring some water to them to encourage them. If I can't join, I'll try to encourage, bring some cold water. Whenever there was a pothole repair project, I think Jessica Perry started like 2015. And I saw them working and trying to fix the potholes because city was way behind. Although they were doing cold patching, it shouldn't last more than a year. So I went by and I bought as many the cold water and all these juice and everything possible to give them. And I also donated, to GoFundMe. They had a GoFundMe page. So programs like this, I think, if we can't participate, we can help somebody else participate. And there are young people that can actually spend some time to do that. And also, talking about speeding ticket earlier, I know I got 30 seconds. So speeding tickets, instead of writing a ticket and then penalizing them for the cash penalty, usually it comes from their parents. Make them do the work. They can do physical work, the cleanup activities and everything, and this will stay with them. They will know that they have done something, and they paid for it with their time and sweat.
I have always, since I was elected, voted in favor of every resolution that supports cleanliness or cleaning in Hamtramck for the past 5 years. And I have participated in cleanups events in Hamtramck. And I've advised a lot of my friends, residents, businesses. Every time I go inside a business and I see outside is not clean, I try to give them advice and I try to tell them, clean in front of your business. Clean in front of your house. Clean your yards. Clean your lots. So cleaning is a priority for me, and I've always been noticing it and try to do my best regarding it. Thank you.
All right. So as a healthcare worker, we always emphasize on teaching people the importance of sanitation and cleanliness. And so we teach people, especially during the COVID season, how to, keep themselves and their houses and their backyards and the street clean and safe. I participated maybe a month and a half ago with a group of people here in the cleaning day. I actually that day didn't see Saad or Kamal with us, but I saw everyone else here.
Wouldn't think so.
No, you weren't with us that day. So that's one event that was organized, and I was in it. I actually stopped working that day, Saturday, for a few hours. Also, although cleaning the COVID is a priority also in the clinic. So, and we were cleaning the streets for a few hours. So these are some of the activities, and like I said, a lot of times we don't actually announce the activities, and when we teach people and educate them about the importance of keeping themselves and their properties clean, and that's all actually.
Sure. So as a member of the DDA, I've helped put more trash cans on Joseph Campo. Admittedly, we still need some, but I was part of that effort. I've worked on cleanups through the years, not too many in the last couple of years because I have a business and I'm usually working on Saturday. But I helped as a partner with the city and with the Hamtramck High School LEAP program to put in those recycling bins on Christopher Street. We have recycling for glass, drop-off recycling for water bottles, newspaper and cardboard. Unfortunately, we wish it could be more, but that's what we've got now. I worked on that project with them. I've asked the city manager multiple times, what can we do about recycling? And the answer has always come, there are no companies willing to do that anymore, because the prices that they can get for recycled materials don't make it worth their while. So I'll continue to have that conversation, but it's been a common conversation every year for quite a long time. I've reported businesses who don't have dumpsters, and there are quite a few who are supposed to have, we're all supposed to have dumpsters, and many of them don't, and dump their trash on in the garbage cans on Joseph Campo and make a big mess. I report in alleys. I walk through the alleys almost every day on my way to the post office, and send pictures almost every day to the city manager about enforcement issues in the alleys. I helped guarantee that that there were extra pickups for the flood debris in this last couple of weeks. So those are some of the things that I've done to help cleanliness.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Next up, and this will be the final question from the pool of questions before we go into some of the audience questions, is regarding infrastructure. And this actually ties into what some of the concerns folks have had regarding water bill rates and infrastructure regarding sewage. So after the recent flooding, roads and infrastructure has been a national and statewide discussion. Hamtramck will be celebrating its 100th year as a city next year. We undoubtedly have aging infrastructure. Our residential streets and alleys are crumbling, and our water infrastructure needs help. And people believe that their water bills continue to increase with no clear indication that water infrastructure is being supported. What would you push the city to prioritize for infrastructure projects, and how will you work to get funding for those? As a follow-up to that question, how do we deal with the complaints surrounding exorbitant water rates? Thank you. You'll have 2 minutes to answer this question.
Am I starting?
Yes.
Okay. So as far as the infrastructure and the water infrastructure goes, that's my first priority. We have a plan in place. We did a study years ago. We know what we need to do to at least mitigate the problem. We know we can't fix the problem, that it's a regional-wide problem in terms of combined sewer and stormwater system. We know we can't fix that. We're talking about $200 million for the region. Can't be done. But we know what we can do to fix piece by piece, incrementally, the system in Hamtramck. And we will be working on the next phase of that system next year. That is my main priority, and it has been in terms of infrastructure spending for years now. As far as water rates go, we are charged by the city for the use of our water. We are not allowed by law to make money, to make a profit on those water rates. We charge residents what we're charged by the city of Detroit, plus an administrative fee that goes to processing the water bills and funding the department, as well as putting some aside to fix water main breaks. And we had 16 water main breaks in 2020. It's an aging system, as we know. So by law, we're not allowed, as I said, to make a profit on those water rates. We are not stashing money in a slush fund for those water rates. We also participate in programs like RAP that gives low-income water relief to residents. We apply for grants wherever we can to reduce our costs. And in our next fiscal year, our rates are not rising. So water is my main priority. Fixing our flooding sewers is my top priority in terms of infrastructure.
Next, Saad.
In 2017, that was a very, very hard point about the water rate in Hamtramck. People were paying a lot of money for water bills, and I tried my best to have a water rate study. And as Madam Mayor and some of the council members remember that we got response from Detroit. It's called the GLEWA. Yeah, from GLEWA, we got a response from them that you guys are lucky that you have this rate, and it's expected to go up in the future years. I was shocked. Until this moment, we are still looking for a better water rates. People in Hamtramck are paying more than what they're supposed to pay. Some people in Warren and Dearborn and somewhere else, they're paying like $40, $50, $70, and we are paying more than that. I'm not telling you that your money is not going toward the water. It does go toward the water and to the sewer, but our water rate is high. This is our situation, and I promise that I'm going to keep searching, keep trying until I find a way to reduce the water rate. And regarding the sewer system in Hamtramck, as Madam Mayor mentioned, it's not about Hamtramck. It's a regional wise. It's in the whole county, or maybe across the county, other counties. And we have approved millions of dollars to fix the sewer, especially the one in Joseph Campo and Goodson. And we have fixed that. And for this recent flood, we don't see all that neighborhood get flood as much as it was getting before the fixing and repairing of that sewer. Thank you.
I just have one follow-up question. So how can we promise to lower the rate and then at the same time fix the issue if we can't profit from the funding?
So the only way that we can make those fixes, the surplus comes to fix things like water main breaks or something. It's not to do these massive repairs that we would need to do incrementally in different sites across the city. That money comes from grants, usually comes from the EPA or from possibly from the state, but those are for the most part federal funds that we go after.
And we do.
Yeah, just as a can you follow up with that question as well?
As Madam Mayor mentioned, grants are helping in Hamtramck. We cannot put grants toward the water rate, but we can put it toward the sewer. We cannot use the CDBG stuff our money for sewer or for the water, because water has a different account, and that account has to be spent on the water and on the sewer. We're trying our best to see if there's a way we can get grants that can match or can go to the water account and can help lower the rate. I've tried to bring a resolution in the past 3 months to fix the sewer. Some people have their sewer breaking and then they spend $3,000 to $4,000 fixing it. We had a program which is you pay $5 every month extra on your water bill, and that way you have insurance to fix the sewer line. And I brought a resolution to have the city specialize in account or maybe $3 of each water bill resident pay, and then have it saved for them there until they have a water break or a sewer break. They use their money to fix it without anything coming out of the resident's pocket. This is a very good program. Hopefully you're going to vote for it in the next 2 weeks.
So just to clarify, just because you mentioned reducing the water rates, it seems that there is no possibility to reduce water rates because there is no profit made, there's no surplus made rather, off the actual rates from water. So how can we lower the rates yet continue to provide just the adequate service or the base service that is offered now? It seems like it's an impossibility. So are you saying that you would or you can't reduce the rates right now?
For now, it's impossible to lower the water rate. But if you keep on looking for grants that go to the water rate account, and that could have the city paid out of that grant, like $2 or $3 for the people. They can lower the water, not the water rate, but the water bill. If your water bill is $90, the city will pay $3 or $4, maybe $7 or $11 for you if they got that grant from the federal or from anywhere else, and you will be paying $80. So that's the only way we can reduce the water bills.
Okay, come on.
So same question, priority, funding, and rates reduction. So I happen to have 22 years of experience with DWSC, Detroit Water and Sewage Department, and most of those years working with rates. And in fact, I used to bill Hamtramck for water usage, wholesale water, before they went to GLWA. So the prioritizing the infrastructure, like everyone said that this is an infrastructure, a slow project. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Grants available, we make it to put it to good use. Now, reducing rates is something that I worked with for many, many years. Sewer and drainage rate is the highest portion of the rate. Water rate is the cost of service. They cannot charge profit. However, the producing water is not the most expensive part of it. In fact, 1 penny buys you 55 gallons of water. That's how much it costs, used to cost, maybe a little bit higher now. So when you flush your toilet, when you wash your dishes and everything, that costs the most. Because when you get water from the river, and then when you dump it, after it goes through the sewage treatment plant, that water is cleaner than the water that you are drawing from the river. So that's how clean it has to be to comply with the EPA regulation. And because Detroit was in violation for that cleanliness, they had to be under federal guideline for almost 30 years. So the rate reduction is actually, I worked with, that was a program that I designed and implemented with DWSD, Water Assistance Program. I worked with Wayne Metro, and how it works is they look at your past due balance and then gives you a credit of up to $25 a month. Direct credit, and I wanted to implement it here in Hamtramck, but there was some resistance because it was a new program, not familiar, it wasn't very familiar. So most of Hamtramck residents will qualify that $25 direct reduction. However, we are not marketing it. We're not telling people how to use it. I think we need to communicate better with the people. And also, we are charging something. If you are a residential customer and if you do see an IWC rate on your account, that charge you should not be paying. And you can go back to the city and get your 6 years of what you paid back as a credit. That's a statute of limitation. Only only the commercial customer should pay that IWC rate, up to $5.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So we had a couple questions regarding city services. Oh, I'm so sorry. Dr. Gallup, with the final response on this question.
All right. So
would you like me to repeat it, or?
It's all right.
Okay.
So let's talk about the flooding issue first. So we have a sewer system that's very old, since the 1950s, and it's designed to sustain 2 inches of water every hour. Now, what happened in the past 2 weeks, that we were hit with 6 inches of water in 30 minutes. So it was beyond the capacity of the system. So this problem has been happening over and over the years, and it has never been addressed or solved. So I think we should take this seriously. Our sewer system is shared with the neighboring cities like Detroit and Highland Park, and so we should be, we should be cooperating with them to fix it. It cannot be fixed completely because it costs a lot, but it can be fixed partially to at least to reduce the problem to a certain level. We can seek grants from the county, from the state, and FEMA. This is very important because the water bills and all these will not be enough to fix these problems. We are gonna seek, choose elected officials who can, hold town halls with the people, those who are affected and not affected with these problems, and agree on seeking help, estimating the cost, and seeking grants from the government, because I don't think it can be fixed with just the water bills. Whether we increase or lower, that's not enough to fix this infrastructure problem that's very old and it needs to be repaired somehow.
Thank you. We now have questions regarding business development from several questions around business development in the from the audience, rather. So generally speaking, folks are asking, and we'll have Kamal be the first to answer this question. So several folks are asking that, in order to attract businesses, many folks feel there are hurdles and obstacles for businesses to open, many fines and applications, and it slows down the process. And they want to know how that would be addressed. Additionally, we see that many businesses leave, namely large corporations, but we see our neighboring city in Highland Park attracting some of these large businesses. So what could be a potential for that issue, and how would that be addressed?
So when businesses see political instability and the political leaders aren't focused on business and community as a whole, that's when they lose trust in the government. And we need to bring trust back in the government. I think we need to promote the businesses all around the city. Small stores that are opening up every corner of town, that's where people go to shop. And whenever we have grants available, we need to make sure that everybody has equal opportunity to those grants, not just select a portion of the town. And our city is small enough so that we can have the DDA type of facilities or opportunities offered to any businesses all around. And why some of the businesses are living, like I said before, I talked to some business owners on Joseph Campbell, and they're losing faith in the system altogether. And for one, the COVID didn't help. It hurt everybody. And then people aren't going out and shopping. And they're only doing shopping the essential stuff. They're not doing discretional spending, like going to the coffee shops and the bars and restaurants and everything. Although it's picking up, but it's going on. We need to make sure the grants are available. We need to promote our businesses, our ethnic diversity around regionally, and also designate our Yemeni community as a similar to Bangla town. We need to make sure we promote our Yemen town and get designation. And through you, our representative Ayash, we will make sure we'll get it done. And then neighborhood economic zones it will attract funding. Like I said, the Bangla Town attracted $7.5 million within 5 years of the going implemented. So we can attract funding like that.
We have two separate things here regarding attracting businesses to Hamtramck. We have the big businesses. We have the Wayne County Jail is leaving next year. We have American Axle left us, and we have some other companies left, and that decreases the revenue for the city. How do we solve this problem? By trying to replace different investments to come to these big buildings, to come to these big industries, and have them work in Hamtramck and pay taxes. And make it easier for them to come to Hamtramck, not make it harder by licensing or not very good safety. The second thing is the small business. Small business in Hamtramck is facing a big issue, which is not too many people of Hamtramck shopping locally. If you want to support your local businesses, shop local. If you want your businesses to survive, shop in Hamtramck. Therefore, they will keep on going, providing services, having good business, and paying taxes to the city, and therefore you're receiving services from the government. One of the small things that many complaints come to us from small business owners that the city is giving them a hard time during their licenses, if they have violations and stuff, and they're not feeling they are very welcome to stay in Hamtramck. And that was an issue that I focused on and talked about and discussed with our officials, that we need to make it easy for our businesses. We need to attract more businesses to Hamtramck. Thank you.
Okay, so instead of using difficult terminology, the equation is easy. We said earlier, security is the fundamental of prosperity. We need to make our city ensure that it's safe and clean and more diverse, and that will attract businesses to our city. We need to remove the stringent regulations on businesses and make sure that they can get their license, process done within, a couple of weeks, even if they have to start under conditional basis, as long as there is no hazards in their property. So they can start and they can open as soon as possible. So we need to work with the city council to streamline that process and make it easy for the businesses to open. And we need to stop, we need to find some vendors to beautify the storefronts of the businesses. And we need to also provide incentives to those new businesses and to the existing businesses as well, because they were affected by the pandemic and by the current economic situation. We cannot ignore them. And we need to stop harassing them, with ticketing them and with the parking lots and parking restrictions that we are putting. So these are some of the ideas to attract businesses and make the environment friendly for them to come and not to leave Hamtramck, even the existing businesses.
So, as a small business owner myself, these hurdles, but I want to mention something that no one else has yet, and that is the Redevelopment Ready Communities program that Hamtramck is a part of. It was now part of MSHA, part of the state of Michigan, that streamlines the very processes that the other candidates have been talking about to make it easier to open a business. So it makes that the process more transparent and easier to navigate. So the city is almost certified as redevelopment ready. I think we've just got a couple of small hurdles to go through. So that is something that we have been working on for quite some time already. As I said before, Hamtramck, if a city has a reputation as a place where people don't have money, then it's hard to attract businesses there. So that's, just a reflection back on the earlier problem. Also, we need a robust and well-funded community and economic development department who can market Hamtramck, who can tell that story of diversity and small businesses, who can tell that story of opportunity to folks out there who are looking for a place where folks are eager to spend their money in their own communities and support their neighbors' businesses. We need to make sure that we have a diverse economy. One of the ways that Hamtramck fell to the wayside in the past was because we relied completely on the auto industry. And we just cannot do that anymore. So, you know, we saw the panic when GM was going to leave. Now we see, the sigh of relief that they're coming back. But we can't rely on GM or American Axle or the jail by itself. We have to have a mixture of these big businesses supplemented by our small local businesses that give Hamtramck the character that it has.
Thank you. Next question is regarding the relationship with the city administration. So how would you approach the relationship with the city manager, given that many folks continuously complain about city services? And what is your overall approach with relaying that relationship with the public? So we'll start with Saad with this question.
All right, here's the process. In order for a resident to bring their complaints to Hamtramck, it's unfortunate that some residents, they vote for someone to be a mayor or a council member or school board, and they think that this guy can solve all the issues that we have. The only process that you have to go through is, if you are facing an issue, you might contact your elected officials and tell them the issue. They will take it to the city manager. City manager will contact the department heads. The department heads will try to discuss and treat that issue. Some people come to us and ask us for, okay, dismiss that ticket for me. There is no way I can dismiss a ticket for you. There is no way I can pay the water bill for you. I can help give you the legal advice how to go through it, how to solve this issue, not to pay for you or dismiss that ticket or that. So there are certain process that the residents have to go through in order for them to get their issues solved. There's a big problem that used to happen in Hamtramck for a long time. The government used to deal with council meetings, school board meetings, and commission meetings with the residents don't know what's happening. I think I was one of the first elected officials or council members letting people know what's going on inside the city. Trying my best to write down in Arabic and sometimes Bengali a report of the council meetings and then put it in my social media. Try my best to make people understand how does the council take their decision, how they pass stuff and how they refuse stuff. And I ask many people to come to the council meetings. So building bridges between the community, the residents, and the government is very important. The residents, they have the right to know what's going on, to know what their elected officials they voted for are doing inside Hamtramck. Thank you.
So next is Dr. Gallup.
So you are talking about the relationship with the city manager, right? So I believe that, you know, we have a weak mayoral system in Hamtramck where the city, where the council equals to the mayor. So I believe that the relationship should be healthy and productive between all the parties. And there should be a line of communication between all of them. There should be transparency in making decisions. We should involve the community in the decision-making process. We should not make decisions on behalf of the community. You know, if the community say no to something, we should not go and vote yes in the city council. Yep. You know, that's we should respect the will of the people. And I see throughout the past year or so or 2 years that this was an issue where we don't represent our community the way it should be represented. We should respect the will of the people, and we should involve them in the decision making. So there should be a healthy relationship and productive between city managers, council members, and the mayor, and we should put a limit to the division within the city council and within the administration as a whole. and build a good relationship with the community, hold some town halls, public forums, invite people who should not just expect them to attend the city council meeting, because most don't. We should be in close contact and communication with the community, and I think there should be always a line of communication between all parties involved in the decision making.
So one issue, I think that we have a pretty good working relationship with the city manager. All information is shared equally across all elected officials. Whatever I get, all the council people get, every council person gets the same information. I think that's really important in terms of transparency, so we all know what's going on. But one thing in terms of community involvement is, I don't know if you've seen it, but I sure have, a lot of information gets shared, a lot of issues get aired on Facebook. And maybe I see it, maybe Councilman Al-Asmari sees it, maybe not. Maybe the city manager sees it, maybe not. We need some sort of central clearinghouse where all that information is funneled. Or we need one person who's going to monitor all of Facebook 24 hours a day and keep track of everything. I've often thought that actually some sort of ombudsperson would be good for the city, who we can, when we see those things, we can funnel them to that person. And I think that Max has pretty much functioned in that role, but without being named as such. Where we can funnel all that information, and they can then bring it to the right, where not one of us is responsible for kind of seeing it all. So I think that a lot of people have misunderstood the way a city manager form of government works, because in many countries there is no such thing. And so it can be difficult to explain to someone that, yes, no, I can't fix your parking ticket because that's not the way it works. I can't even call the police chief personally. I have to go through the city manager. That's the way the process works. And honoring that process is really important. And once folks understand that, then it's a pretty simple process to navigate.
Come on.
So, although I'm not on the city government yet, I have excellent relationship with the city manager, and the not working relationship. However, there are any issues that I always bring it up to her attention, and then she will text back and forth any issues, and she tries to resolve it. During the last year, when there was the proposal to eliminate fire department, I worked along with Sam Alasri to arrange for meetings with try to arrange meetings with the Firefighters Association, Andrew, and city manager. We were going back and forth. We met with both of them. So we desperately tried to come to an understanding, because their talk broke down. So we, even from the outside, we're trying to help the city find a solution so that everyone benefits. However, one of the relationship with the city manager involves, don't forget that she's also an employee of the city. And it involves employee evaluation. That's a required on her contract, that she should get an evaluation, whether she gets a raise, no raise, or whatever, but evaluation has to be done yearly basis. That's how officially she knows how she is doing. You can call her and say, you're doing an excellent job. Evaluation is what is official. And we're not doing that in this city, at least when it was brought up by one of the former council members, I believe Andrea brought that up. It was turned down, because that's when you know that, we need to understand what our role is. We need to let city manager know if she's doing an excellent job, areas that she needs improvement, or it needs to be improved, or anything else that needs to be done. So that's where I think we need to build better relationship and evaluate employees, and at the end, everybody benefits from this.
Yeah, I just have something to add to the comment about the city manager evaluations. I requested evaluation forms, and I received them from, I think, 2 or 3 out of the 6 council people, despite continually messaging them to.
Can you disclose who?
I honestly, I don't know who off the top of my head. So, but yeah, thank you. But I probably would not say if I did. So yes, there is that process, but it also requires the cooperation of all the council people.
Thank you. We're going to get started with the closing statements, and we'll start with Kamal and work our way to the mayor. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds.
So I want to thank all of you for coming and listening to us for a long, long conversation, and I hope you're going home with better understanding of each candidate. And it's very important that you elect candidates not based on color or whom you like, but based on who is capable of representing you. Because important decisions are made that affects you next 4 years. And whether you make the right decision or wrong decision, you are stuck with it, and everybody else, your neighbors and whole city for 4 years. So I hope you make the right decision and study about candidates, ask us questions. We have answers, and make sure that you are comfortable with the answer, and vote yourself and come August 3rd. I want to thank my family sitting over there. They do a lot of community work as well. Thank you all, and for inspiring me. I have lots of friends here. Came from with a text message coming from all the way from Sterling Heights to come here to offer encouragement and support. I do appreciate all of you coming down here, and hopefully you'll be here on August 3rd to provide, give us inspiration more, and then make sure a lot of people come out and vote, because oftentimes we forget how important the vote is. So even one vote is very extremely important. Thank you.
I would say thank you to Yapac for this great opportunity for us to express our information on our minds to our community members. I also say what made me run for the mayor is not because I won the title or the money, because there's none of those. Because I believe that we have opportunity to work and to help this community through the mayor's seat or position. And now, what made me continue to go and made me feel like I have a good opportunity to make it is that we have a good people running for the council, and we will have a great relationship with them, not as the previous one, and they will push and try their best to work sincerely for their community and for their residents. I hope to get your votes. If you're not voting for me, that's fine. But remember, if I make the primary, I'll make the general election. If I be your mayor, whether you voted for me or not, I'll still serve you, I'll still love you, I'll still respect you. Thank you.
All right, so I think it's time for a change in our city. I think we need a transformational leadership that will, put the interests of the people first. And we have seen so many problems that people are voicing their concerns about over the years, and it hasn't been resolved and taken care of so far. So I think, talking about the experience, it's you can just look at the outcomes, and I think it's enough. There's fruitful and productive experiences that can lead to some accomplishment, and there are some destructive experiences. So we have all these problems that we are talking about. I think we need a new leadership to try to solve these problems. And do not be afraid and apprehensive of the change, because I see some people are apprehensive of the change. I don't know why, but I will represent everyone, and I will be the voice of everyone. So there is no need for you to fear the change. Be prepared if it happens. And I ask everyone to go out and vote, give us a chance. Maybe we will come up with new ideas and new visions and new goals that we will work hard. We still have so much energy and enthusiasm to serve you. So give us the opportunity, and maybe we will not disappoint you. Thank you.
Thank you, and I want to thank you for your support over all these years. I know many of you in this room, as I've said before. I know you because we've worked together before. We've met over meals. We've broken bread together. We've been at weddings together. We've been at events together. We've celebrated together. We've mourned together, we've worried about the state of the city together, and we've tried to solve problems together. You know that I've worked for you, and I've worked for every single community and every person in this city. You know that I can represent the entirety of the city. You took a chance on me in 2005 when you voted in the first woman mayor, and that was a change for the city. I hope that I haven't disappointed you. You've seen from everything that the other candidates have said, they've come up with some good ideas, but they've also told you what a difficult job this is. Nobody has all the answers. We work together with the council, with the changing council, and sometimes with a difficult council. We work together with council. We work together with the administration, with the city manager, with our state officials, with the federal government, with our county officials. It requires building relationships. It requires some institutional knowledge. And it requires a commitment to the entire city and to representing the entire city. I've built that experience over the years. I've built those relationships around the country and in fact around the world in these years. I've told the story of Hamtramck in a way that does honor to all of you. People come to Hamtramck, people have come from all over the world to explore Hamtramck, and part of the reason is because we've been able to tell that story, and the mayor is the primary spokesperson who tells that story to the world. The story that I've tried to tell is one of diversity, of working together, of struggling through difficulties together, and finding solutions through dialogue, sometimes through argument. It's not always smooth. That's how democracy works, right? But we've managed to tell this story and make Hamtramck proud. We've really, in fact, I think, turned around the story of what Hamtramck is and its significance to the world and what the world hopes for in terms of getting along with each other and working together. That's what I've tried to do, besides like fixing the sewers and paving and all the other hard stuff that comes with governing. So I hope you'll remember that when you consider your vote on August 3rd. And I will also be considering the many good ideas I've heard today from the council candidates and from the other mayoral candidates.
Thank you to the city council candidates. Thank you for sitting through this portion of the debate. To the four mayoral candidates, thank you for attending. We also want to thank Golden Gates Hall for generously opening up their facilities to host this event. We obviously also want to thank Yapac and the board for organizing another candidate forum and debate. And Hamtramck, you got an important decision to make. We hope that your votes will be made responsibly with the best interests of the city. And I believe the council candidates will stick around if you have any direct questions you'd like to ask them after this discussion. Thank you for tuning in. We have one announcement tomorrow. So two announcements actually. Hamtramck City FC and Detroit City FC, both champions of their leagues, will be having a charity soccer game on July 31st. But tomorrow there is a celebratory recognition at Frontier International Academy for the Hamtramck City Football Club for winning the Yemeni Soccer League Cup down in Decatur, Alabama. That'll be happening tomorrow at 4 p.m. So everyone is invited. Again, it's to celebrate the Hamtramck City Football Club for bringing home the Yemeni Soccer League Cup back to Hamtramck. And thank you all for coming, and we hope to see you tomorrow.
Also, I would like to thank moderators, State Rep, the Honorable Brian Ayash, and for the list. You guys can stay around, take pictures, talk to people if you want. يا شباب صورة جماعية بس هكذا. We'll take a group picture real fast.
Everybody talking about Oh, we can do it right here.
20 pictures.
1, 2, 3.
Alright, some cheese.
I always look at the thing with the actual camera.
So you gotta get this one. That's the best one. Not smile, bro.
I'm good.
Hold up. I got it.
One more.
Adele. Hey, boss, excuse me.
Can I take a picture? Hold on a second. Right there, hold on a second. All right, thank you so much. One side. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. We're very competitive, I'm telling you. We can't.
You need that job?
We've seen your business.
I got all the... I said, get it at the hall. Oh, okay. It's him. Oh, yeah, I know, yes.
Hey, how are you?
There's some.
Very good.